I'm Eric Reeser. Ohio State's annual spring game is tomorrow at noon. Tyvis Powell will be on the call for the Big Ten Network. We'll have the spring scrimmage live on the Fan with pre-spring game coverage Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Tavian St and the Ones will get some early work with thud tackling to start, and then the team will go full go after the starters finish a few drives. Bo Jackson, Isaiah West, and Legend Bay will not play because of injuries. In baseball last night, Guardians rookie lefty Parker Messick took a no-hitter into the ninth. Last night against the Orioles, Baltimore's Leody Taveras broke it up, but Cade Smith closed the game out for the Guardians' 4-2 win in Cleveland. In Cincinnati, the Reds were shut out by the Giants 3-0. Redlegs took 2 of 3 in that series. And in NHL news, the Blue Jackets have extended Rick Bowness for the 26-27 season. Bowness was 21-11-5 in 37 games this past year. This update is sponsored by High Bank Distillery Co. Locally inspired dishes and award-winning cocktails. Visit highbankco.com to make your reservation. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy, Austin Ward. My good buddy, Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lesmerises joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Barry here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
it's a rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only 2 guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Spring Game Football Friday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 3. Do a little basketball. Tim Alcorn, voice of the Cavs. Get you set for their game tomorrow at 1 against the Raptors in the NBA playoffs. 10 o'clock, the $100 million roster question. Is this real? Is this happening? Is this where we're headed? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to get all the way there. Tim May going to join at 10:30, 11 o'clock. What we learned this week, including the fact that perhaps if you have a perfectly timed, organically happening rant, it can turn into a second year on the job, and I think that maybe is what happened around here with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And 11:30, Doug Lesmerises will join as well. The spring game is tomorrow. First spring game at a big-time program I ever saw was in 2002 down in Tallahassee, seeing the Florida State spring game. And the biggest difference between that and this, go ahead, Bake.
I was just going to say, hold on. Should I do this? Should I do this right?
Oh. Oh boy.
I mean, it's not.
No,
it's not quite.
I don't
but,
like that.
Oh my God. I was not prepared.
Prepared for thud tackling?
It does hit you though. I mean, it still hits. It's pretty undefeated.
As long as Gruden can go out there
Chills.
and call Spider 2 Y banana.
That's all we need.
That's all you want tomorrow, isn't it?
Well, it's a spring game. What else is there? You stay healthy. You Spider 2Y banana. You maybe go big boy package in the goal line situation. An homage to Woody Hayes. And everybody gets out of there happy.
You know what, though? You know what's interesting about what just happened here? And this kind of goes back where I was going with the Florida State thing in 2002, and even the first one I saw here in 2008. The spring game used to be the unveiling of the new team. It was the first time you saw it. You would have situations, if you just go, I mean, this is how far we've come from a technology standpoint and how we covered things in 20 years. But if you just go back 2 decades, and if you're old enough to remember that, you remember that the only way that you really knew what was going on in spring football is if you read the Columbus Dispatch and you read Tim May and Bill Rabinowitz and Rob Aller and Bob Hunter, and you read those guys, or if you watched Channel 10 with Dom and the guys, if you watched Channel 4, I'm not sure who would have been at Channel 4 at that time in the early 2000s. Channel 6 would have been Clay Hall. And you watched their nightly sportscasts. That was it. You'd read about in the Buckeye Sports Bulletin, like there were these type of things, but there was no. You got 2 decades ago, there was no such thing as message boards. There was no such thing as video phones and videos and all of this stuff. So when you got to the spring game, whether it was the first major one that I ever attended down in Tallahassee, or for you out there listening, or you two, the first one that you probably went to as a little kid around here, that was your first look at a new quarterback, a new running back. Who's this linebacker I'm hearing about? Are we going to get a look at this guy? What does this look like? You also have to remember there was no early enrollees in those days. So you were getting to see previous year's freshmen, who's elevating? Who the hell is replacing Big Cat? Right? I mean, those were the questions that you were trying to answer in spring. What does it look like now that we don't have Joe Germain? Now, because we are inundated with content, we have a bunch of incredible sites that chronicle everything that happens, that have video that's out. Hell, you got the team puts out hype videos of its players from spring. So you think about Gruden calling Spider Y2 banana. You think about Ryan Day on a broadcast, Jeremiah Smith's his freshman year's first spring game, going, watch this. The spring game has evolved into what it is. And I better or worse, I don't know. I'm into it. I can't wait to watch it. Unfortunately, Tyvus is on the call, and I had to deal with his absurd take that Pulp Fiction was overrated, even though apparently he can quote the entire movie. But in terms of what to see, there isn't going to be anything too surprising for us. A lot of the guys that you think like Legend Bay is not going to be in this thing. Chris Henry, I think we're excited to see Chris Henry, see what that looks like. You're going to get a little bit of a look at that. Tavian St. Clair, that's exciting. We haven't really seen him do much. So, I mean, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. Like, I think we did it in The Real Truth maybe last week. Is Tavian St. Clair going to be the star of the spring game? Yeah, I think very good chance that he is. I think Julian's going to make a couple throws and get the heck out of there, put him in bubble wrap, and we're good. So you still have those type of things. But the difference between now and then is in those days, you never even would have seen him. You never would have seen Chris Henry. All of a sudden, he'd paratroop in and play a spring game, and that'd be your first appearance of it. We've seen him. We know his black stripes gone. We've seen him run routes. Ohio State put a hype video on him. It's just different. I'm not saying it's better or worse. It's just different. I do think the anticipation around it isn't quite what it used to be because we are so inundated with data and video and information, and we feel like we kind of know what we're going to see tomorrow before we even see it.
Yeah, I think for me, it's more of a what's the future going to look like for this team? Like to see Tavian St. Clair rip one across the middle to Brock Boyd or down the sideline to him, I think would be fun. Our savior for the season, Connor Hawkins, get a chance to see him kick at Ohio Stadium. Like all of this is just kind of fun.
I think it was was it Maddie or AR yesterday said I wouldn't let him kick anything inside of 35 yards. And I would just say, I love where they were going with that. Like, because if he misses it, then the world ends. I would say don't let him pick anything inside of 45. Like, no 40-yarders for him. Like, try hitting 60-yard bombs, so if you miss them, there's an excuse built in. You said that about the future, though, but, I mean, can we really? I don't know if Tavian St. Clair will be here next year.
More so
than... I don't
know
know if Brock Boyd will be here next year. I think they will be. But we have 51 new faces this year, guys. Who knows who's going to be? This is a year-to-year basis.
Bo, your points about seeing guys for the first time and not really knowing anything about them, like Chris Henry Jr., we've seen his highlights for 2 years now because his high school games are all out there and there's video for all of them. And I think it changes so much, too, because this actually used to be a real game.
Yes.
This was let's draft teams, let's go out, and you really did see who was next. And there's part of me, there's a big part of me that misses that. I think there's value in that game-like situation, but I don't know when it changed and why it changed and why we don't put any importance on something like this. But tomorrow would be a heck of a lot cooler if you knew, and no doubt, I don't want Julian St. out there getting hit. But tomorrow would be a heck of a lot cooler if you saw Tavian St. Clair out there dodging real bullets and seeing if this defense, and I do think we will get a good look at the back end of this defense tomorrow because I think Ohio State's going to throw a lot.
Well, hell,
and
I think any running backs.
Yeah, you don't have any running backs, and your offensive line is in shambles too. I mean, there's possibly 3 of your starting offensive linemen come week one aren't going to be able to be out there tomorrow in Austin Saarveld, Phillip Daniels, and Josh Padilla. So I do think Devin Sanchez is going to get tested tomorrow. I do think Earl Little Jr. is going to get tested tomorrow. I do think Terry Moore is going to get tested tomorrow, and I do think that's good, and I will be excited to see that.
I'm excited. It's football. I mean, you played the damn bells, and you get the hair on the back of your neck stands up. I mean, this is what we do. So, yeah, I'm excited to see it. The St. Clair part of it is far and away. Like, I have a pretty good idea what Chris Henry is going to look like. I haven't really seen Tavian St. Clair do anything. Not really. A little bit of high school stuff, but the talent, him versus who he was playing, was so dramatically different. This is a totally new thing. And Reese is right. I mean, that is seeing the future at quarterback with him. And we said that earlier in the week. He might be the last one of those. Like 5-star Ohioan, comes here, sits 2 years, provided Julian goes pro next year, and then it's his gig. So that we're going to see, and I'm excited for that. It's still awesome. It's just a little different than it used to be when it was kind of that first initial unveiling. I'm sure there are many of you who have memories of did you see that guy for the first time going to the spring game? I'm sure that exists. And that'll still be there. And my hunch is it'll be Tavian St. Clair is going to have himself a day yesterday. That's my hunch. Saturday is the spring game, and the Fan has you covered. Join us tomorrow, 10 o'clock, the Pelotonia Fan Tailgate Show live from FanFest. AR, Tim May, and Bids get you ready for kickoff. It's the Pelotonia Spring Game Fan Tailgate Show. Join the community passionate about ending cancer at pelotonia.org and presented by KeyBank. For every financial need, we'll meet you in the moment. KeyBank opens doors. Much more on the spring game, things that we're looking forward to, what we want to see offensively, what we want to see defensively. Coming up next, though, it's possible the NCAA listens to this show. We'll get to it next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Colin Man here for Hollywood Casino Columbus.
Oh, Mikey, did you know something new is coming and it's right around the corner?
What is it?
Now you can stay while you play. It's the all-new Hollywood Casino Columbus Hotel. It's coming June 12th, and we want you to celebrate with us as we open the doors with a can't-miss concert and festival.
And here's something for you this month. It's the Win Your Way drawings on select Wednesdays and Saturdays. You can score $100,000. Plus, coming in May, it's the Hollywood Tribute Concert Series.
Ooh, must be 21 to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
I love Right Pack Credit Union because they're solution driven.
I feel valued as a member.
They're focused on the latest technology and the personal connections.
Experience benefits that go beyond banking with Right Pack Credit Union. Just ask our actual members.
I definitely recommend Right Pack to all my family and friends as a credit union of choice.
Visit one of our Columbus area Right Pack Credit Union member centers near you. Based on individual members' experiences, results may vary.
We're hiring at Don's Garage Doors. No experience? No problem. We provide full training, a brand new van, top-of-the-line tools, a gas card, and steady jobs with weekly pay. This isn't just a job. It's a career with real growth, great pay, and job security. Our team members go from training to 6 figures, and we're ready to help you do the same. Don't wait. Apply now at donsgaragedoors.com.
Aetna has been my lifesaver. Easy to understand, and if not, customer service is always there to help.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up with care management that ensures doctors work together on complicated conditions. We show up with the latest in online tools to make healthcare easier to use anytime. We show up for you, because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Columbus, get a new Ford with special financing for everyone at Capital Ford of Columbus. Save up to $10,000 off MSRP on remaining 2025 Ford Escapes in stock. We have options for all. Deals end April 30th. Visit CapitalFordColumbus.com now.
Matty Ice here. Do you need a vehicle that has room for the whole family? Then check out the 26 Chevrolet Traverse at McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. This month, lease a brand new 26 Traverse for as low as $379 a month for 39 months for $3,998 due at signing for qualified buyers. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details. Deal ends April 30th, so don't wait. Visit McDaniel GM Superstore located off 23095 in Marion or online at McDanielGMSuperstore.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Have you ever met a man who wins money betting on tennis? Enter Scotty Vegas. Join Scotty and Dave Biddle for On the Money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
Sunday mornings at 9 on The Fan.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
Sometimes, tough times are a test, a chance to prove ourselves. Colleen O'Donnell proved her grit in Laredo, Texas, when she served as an immigration judge and faced the worst of the worst: human smugglers, gang members, dangerous people. Colleen ordered them to be deported, never granted asylum once, and enforced the law to the letter. Now, Ohio needs tough leadership on the bench, so Colleen O'Donnell's running for Ohio Supreme Court as a constitutional conservative with 10 years of prior judicial experience. Ohio Right to Life PAC endorses Colleen for her devotion to our conservative values. America's toughest immigration sheriff, Richard Jones, endorses Colleen O'Donnell for her dedication to public safety. And the Ohio leaders we trust support Colleen O'Donnell for her unwavering loyalty to the rule of law and the Ohio State Constitution. The grit to lead, the experience to succeed. Colleen O'Donnell for Ohio Supreme Court.
Paid for by O'Donnell for Ohio.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see some high thin clouds working overhead for the remainder of the day. It's another warm one with highs in the lower 80s, less windy than what it has been recently. Overnight tonight, plan on increasing clouds, lower 60s on the way. Saturday, a bit unsettled. We'll have occasional scattered showers and a few thunderstorms working through. A couple of those could be strong in the early afternoon, something we'll keep an eye on, with highs in the mid-70s. For The Fan, I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Justin Gertz.
Common Man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is. You have it's to the point probably where you're sick of me saying it, but we talk about it a lot, and we talk about the calendar, and we talk about all of these things, and one of the things that we've been pretty adamant about here on the show, this goes all the way back to when Threes was here, and he and I were doing the show, that the calendar of college football had to get sorted if you're going to go to a 12-team playoff, that you cannot compete with the National Football League for attention in January. You end up playing games in a closet. They still rate, but the buzz around them isn't what it could be. And you have an opportunity to really own this thing in December and kind of own that time of year and crown your champion before the NFL begins to attempt to crown it. And one of the things that's critical to that is you have got to start this season sooner. And one of the things that we have said for a damn near a decade now, guys, this is no kidding, is, and most of you are going, yeah, actually you have. You probably are sick of hearing me say it, is make week 1 week 0. That's it. That's all you got to do. You just move it back 1 week or push it forward however you want to do it. The reality is week 2 would now be Labor Day. That's what we have said. Week 1 would go the week before. Now all of a sudden you can wrap this thing up before you get into December and you get the playoff going. Well, apparently the NCAA is listening, because on Thursday, the NCAA's Football Oversight Committee recommended a standard start before Labor Day weekend. Under the proposal, the regular season would begin on the Thursday of what is now called Week 0 and still end on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Schools would have 14 weeks to schedule 12 games. This model will give teams 2 open dates and allow for flexibility for potential changes to the postseason. Oh, you don't say. Under the proposal, the NCAA would also limit exceptions for teams to play before the official start of the season. So, in other words, Week 0 is Week 1. You can't play before it. The sport has seen an uptick recently in schools applying for waivers to start their seasons earlier. In 2025, there were 5 games on Saturday, August 23rd. This season, there are 8 games on August 29th. For the proposal to become official, the Division I cabinet will still have to adopt the legislation, and this group is scheduled to discuss the recommendation in June. Yes, do this. This is simple. Now, 12 to 14, 2 bye weeks. My hunch is they would still keep the Ohio State-Michigan game the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So I wouldn't do that. I would get it back to the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and I would have Army-Navy have that Saturday after Thanksgiving to themselves, and then I would start the playoff the next weekend and get rid of the conference championship games. I'd start the 16-team, which is where we're going to get, 16-team playoff. I'd start it December 1 and get that sucker crowned by either the first Friday or Monday in January, would be however you want to do it. And I do think by the time you get to January, Friday would be my preferred versus Monday night. I think it better. I know it's traditionally not as much from a rating standpoint, but you could kind of own it at that point. But I think if you think about crowning a national champion on a Friday night, and then it allows for the late start isn't so bad and all of those things. So that's what I would do with it. They're not all the way there, but they're getting there. So this is a step in the right direction. The conversation around a 5 years to play 5 is going in the right direction. A 24-year age limit is going in the right direction. They are baby stepping their way. Now they're going to be just mucked up in bureaucracy for, I'm sure, the next 2 years trying to get all this stuff done. But they're getting there. And I guess for an organization that's failed us so often, this is at least a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's actually something sensible that's worked on that everybody can agree with. It'll be very interesting if this does take place the 2027 season. They don't crown a champion until Monday, January 24th of 2028. So,
as it stands now, though, Reese, theoretically that could be moved.
Yep, which is probably what should happen, and I'm even more interested to see if the playoff gets expanded by the 2027 season, how this all starts to coincide, or how this all starts to work together, because you'd mentioned putting a lot of pieces together in this kind of a puzzle. When you change the dynamic of the puzzle entirely, now how do we look? Are we expanding this to 16 teams, or are they going to wait to see what happens with a week 0 in a regular 12-teamer? Like it means conference title games are gone, but then are you adding those the play-in things?
Right.
So honestly, this screams we've got more opportunity for inventory if I'm going from a television standpoint, but the fact that everybody can agree with something is better than nothing.
So, Bo, this goes back to something you said maybe about a month ago, where let's work on some things we can control.
Yeah.
Like you can't control NIL and these guys making money anymore and all of that stuff, but you can control this. Mm-hmm. So it's nice that, hey, let's focus all of our energy on this. Let's get this taken care of, get it fixed, and then we can move on to the next problem. I do feel, though, if they are doing this means we are well on our way to a 2014 playoff. I don't know if the season's going to end much sooner, because we're just going to add games at the back end. I think the 24 games is coming without a doubt.
24 team? I definitely don't. I don't think that the other conferences want it at all. And I don't think that Tony Petitti's got the juice to get it done. I think the only people who have an appetite for it are the Big Ten. And I think the only reason the Big Ten has an appetite for it is because Fox wants it, because they want inventory. But I don't think ESPN has any interest in opening it up, and I think the other 3 conferences don't have any interest in opening it up to 24. I think it's cumbersome, and I think they really failed in their message. I think you're going to get 16, and I think you're going to get 16 pretty quick. And then potentially does it end up at 32? God knows. Who knows? Because you're right in that part. They are going to want more inventory on this thing going forward. But everything I'm reading and seeing on it, there's no appetite for 24 teams from anybody other than Fox and the Big Ten.
I also didn't know that August 29th, NC State's playing Virginia in Rio.
Yeah, you remember that?
No.
I think I remember talking about that. And I remember thinking,
this?
Like, who in Rio wants that? Aren't all of those, it's kind of like the Aer Lingus games in Dublin, right, though, guys? Like it's like visitireland.com pays for it. So my guess is like the Rio thing is like, tourismbrazil.com.
Yeah, College Football Brazil is the
there you go. Yeah.
company, and collegefootballbrazil.us is the site. Yeah, we're 133 days out, kids.
Yeah.
I get why visitireland.com or whatever would do this to try to drum up tourism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wouldn't you, if you're going to do this and want people to come, wouldn't you try to get the Ohio States, the Alabamas, the USCs, the Georgias of the world?
I think they probably did.
They just said
I'm
no.
guessing their first try wasn't NC State, UVA. I'm guessing it was like, hey, let's shoot big. And then all of a sudden, like, all the dance partners are going away. And it's like, hey, we just need 2 teams to play in this game. Who can we get?
PonyUpIreland.com. Money talks.
Make the number bigger, and then we'll see. I mean, how the hell is Ohio State not playing in Munich? I mean, that's got to be a home run, right? I mean, go play over there.
That's got to be something, because we had talked to Ross about games overseas for Ohio State, and they said at no point would they give up a home game. But if someone on the schedule was willing to give up a home game, because Michigan was going to, and I think cooler heads prevailed there, but if someone was willing to do it, to give up one of their home games and enough money, you'd get the Buckeyes overseas.
Yeah, of course. Everybody's got a price, baby. We know that. Let me just do this for you in 2027. If this goes through and our week 0 becomes week 1, and even if you keep the Ohio State-Michigan game where it is after Thanksgiving, okay, you give Army-Navy Saturday the 4th. And just follow me on this. So it'll be the first Saturday in December in 2027 will be Saturday the 4th. That's Army-Navy on its own. The Heisman will be awarded that night. That's a conversation for a different day if they need to move the Heisman with so many games happening in December. That's a conversation for a different day. Okay, but everybody else will be off the 4th except for Army-Navy. The 11th becomes the first round of a 16-team playoff. The 18th becomes the second round of a 16-team playoff. So you go from 16 teams on the 11th to 8 teams on the 18th. The next time you play is the Final Four. That would fall on January 1st. Okay? So you play the semifinals on January 1st, and then the following, so that would be Saturday. What a lovely time. Saturday, you could play it even Friday, the 31st, if you wanted. And then you crown the national champion on January 7th, and we're done. You open the portal on January 10th, and away we go. The portal's open for 2 weeks. There's still some facade of academic integrity with it, where you could still, be eligible to actually attend classes in that semester. You close it on January 31st. They got 2 weeks to portal. Boom. Fixed it. Done. It's not hard. It is not hard. And if you want to stay away from the NFL, because the NFL plays playoff games on those Saturdays, then play them on Friday. New Year's Eve is Friday the 31st. Play one of them at 3 o'clock and one of them at 7, and away we go. Play one in the Sugar Bowl, one in the Orange Bowl, play the afternoon game in the Rose Bowl, and we're set to go. And then the national championship game is on the 7th. It's not hard. So at least they're getting there. At least they're getting there. This is a step in the right direction to some sort of sanity. It took probably longer than it should have, but at least they're getting there. Spring game is tomorrow. Ryan Day on what he's looking to see from his Buckeyes and who's ringing that victory bell. Interesting story about Jackson Smith at Jgba as well that dropped today. We'll get to all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The new Omaha Steak Store is now open at 1033 Polaris Parkway at Polaris Commons. Stop in today and save 50% store-wide on legendary steaks, burgers, and more. Plus, get doorbuster deals starting at just $19.99. Discover the Omaha Steaks difference today at the new store at Polaris Commons in Columbus.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. As a longtime homeowner, I know how it goes when it comes to things that need to be fixed around the house and you just haven't gotten to them. Like maybe that leaky faucet that always has a drip. You think about it, but you never take care of it. And now it's just a part of the house. It's character. Maybe it's your windows that are always sticking and you can't get them open. So you just don't think about it. Who cares? Except now the weather's nice. You want to open the windows, and again, you can't because they're not fixed. Get new windows from Window Nation. They've made it easy to get top quality custom fit windows with their the more you buy, the more you save sale. You could save up to 50% off all your windows. Plus, you could get them with 0 interest for 5 years. Did you know investing in your home is actually one of the best investments you can make, especially in uncertain times? Experts report that windows retain 80% of their value. Energy efficient, beautiful windows from Window Nation with great deals going on now. Schedule your free consultation at windownation.com.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Gruden & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Gruden & Sons, and you can check them out online at GrudenandSons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville and Raymond for all your Kubota needs.
Did your HVAC struggle through this rough winter? When it comes to your home comfort, trust the local experts at Columbus Worthington Air. Right now, you can save up to $2,000 on a new HVAC system with our trade-in allowance program. At CWA, we treat your home like it's our own with safe, reliable service backed by our exceptional service guarantee. Columbus Worthington Air and Bryant Heating and Cooling. Whatever it takes. Visit cwaohio.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 47543.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
All right, so what's up on a Football Friday? Buckeyes versus Buckeyes tomorrow in the spring game. Noon start for that one. Of course, we're all gonna consume this thing. I'll have it on the DVR. We got some lacrosse stuff, but gonna check it out in great deal as it goes on. Excited for it. Excited to see some of these young guys. Certainly, Tavian St. Clair is at the top of my list of guys that I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit. Just haven't seen it. That's what I want to see. What does Ryan Day want to see in the spring game? Here's your answer.
No, just another. Point of evaluation on all the guys is really what it would be. Listen, the running backs, probably won't have, 3 of those guys out there. Probably not 4 of them. Turbo is probably not going to make it. Legend's probably not going to make it. So we're down running backs. So we'll have to throw the ball some, which is good for the quarterbacks to get the ball out of their hand and see how they handle the environment. And then get a chance to see the ball with the wide receivers and see what those guys do, and then pass rush and pass protection, and so it'll probably be some of that. Not that we won't run the ball, but with those guys down, you probably won't get as much of that. So, but just to see how guys respond in that environment will be the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, no running backs is tough. So you're gonna be living in just spin it, which is a win for all of us, right? I mean, it's fun. That'll be entertaining. There have been a bunch of different coaches that have tried a bunch of different things with the spring game, and it leads to kind of a bigger question of what is kind of the future of a spring showcase. Ryan Day was asked Monday, is there still value in playing a spring game? Here was his answer.
When we entered last year, coming off of a late season, finish, we finished on the 20th, and then spring ball was right around the corner. But what you realize is these guys coming out of high school really need to play. They haven't played at this level, and it's a big jump for all of them. So they need it. There are guys, however, that have played, 500 or 1,000 more snaps, 1,000 or more snaps, and so those guys really don't need that as much. But there's a lot of guys on the team that do. And so now that there's only one portal and you pretty much know what your team is at this point, it allows you enough players to get out there and actually, scrimmage. And we need to do that. So that's what we're going to do. But we'll also be smart and make sure we're not putting guys who will put a whole bunch of football out there, and risk any type of injury. But some of these guys do need to play, and then it gives us some feedback going into the preseason on how guys we can expect them to perform when they go into games.
It's so, if you're someone who's going to sit here and Lane Kiffin did this, and I acknowledge it's circumstantial, and he's not doing a spring game down at LSU. They spent $50 million on the roster, and he doesn't need to see anybody get hurt, and so he's not going to have one. I think it's a big miss in terms of what they could have done with NIL, what they could have done with. There's a tremendous amount of excitement around that program. To me, it feels like a miss on NIL. I mean, just think about what Ohio State's doing tomorrow night with the concert with Darius Rucker and North to Nashville and all of those things. I mean, that is a massive, and they'll crush it. That is a massive NIL boost. That is a very cool thing that they are able to do. I don't understand why LSU wouldn't do similar, but the one point that I do think that Kiffin is saying is I don't get anything really in terms of what my team's going to be in the fall from this. But a big part of that is he knows who his quarterback is. I don't think you could have made that argument a year ago around here. The momentum going into the spring game was that Lincoln Kienholz had made up a lot of ground and potentially had a better spring than Julian Sayin. And then the spring game happened, and Julian was Julian. And then he got back. That was a massive data point. It wasn't just another spring practice. It was at that position, what does it look like in front of a crowd? What does it look like when the lights are mostly on? There's value in that. If you have a returning quarterback, maybe not as much. But if you have a true quarterback competition, who can forget like some of the Burrow Haskins? Think about all of the spring games that we've had out here where we've had true competition at the quarterback position, and last year was probably the very best example of it and the most recent. Think about how far Justin Fields came from his spring game and then into what he ended up being that first year around here. So I think there is still massive value in it, specifically if you have a quarterback competition.
Well, I just know how much it means to the fans around here.
Yeah.
Like growing up here, you remember spring games with Maurice Claret in 2002. Like, you remember, I mean, you had thrown out there on Twitter, like, who was the one spring game MVP you remember the most? And I saw a couple Torrance Gibsons.
Mm-hmm.
What, 2016 was when it was. So I think if LSU, if Texas, who aren't doing spring games, are as football crazy as I'm sure people are here, then I can only imagine it means the same.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of let's celebrate this team, let's celebrate something that we love together, let's celebrate when it's finally getting warm enough out. And so I say to those schools, shame that you're not embracing your fan base in a way that it's only been done forever. Because this is all I know is a spring game at Ohio State.
Yes.
And last year they tried to do it and it was silly, and then they realized how unsilly the idea of it is. And you can't be scared to play football. And I understand now the investments that have been made into these rosters. But if you're Steve Sarkisian, if you're Lane Kiffin, and you're going to come out and say, well, we just don't want to get our guys injured, well, then just don't have them ever play football. Don't have them ever go to practice. Don't have them ever cut on turf. Don't do any of these things, because if you want to protect the investments, then the best idea would have them to never play football. And then just hope things go your way in week one of the regular season. Like, I
tend to agree.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
I'm with you too, Reese. It always seems like when you worried about getting hurt, that's when you get hurt. Also, there's just some guys that do better in game situations rather than practice. You've heard it. They call it, you've heard it for years. This guy's just a gamer. There's some guys that just play well in that situation, and maybe they're not a practice guy. And also in game-like situations, injuries happen, yes, but you're not going to have Julian St out there. You're not going to have Jeremiah Smith out there. You're not going to have your top stars out there taking hits for the whole 2 hours. And if you can't rely on your teammates to be the safest guy to play against and not hurt you, like, who can you rely on? Like, I would feel much better about Jeremiah Smith going up, catching a pass and getting hit by Devin Sanchez than I would a Michigan player or a Texas player in week 2.
Yeah. I agree. I think that there is value. I think you both make great points. You can't be scared to play football. Like, the NFL isn't scared to play football. They do joint practices. It's full. They take care of each other, but, like, you still get hit. You still do all of those things, obviously hands off the quarterbacks, but everybody else they're still participating in it, in playing the actual game. So I am curious with all of this calendar talk and all of that, if we get to a more uniformed spring, one that actually makes a little bit more sense. Is it something that actually takes place a little bit later? Maybe it's something that takes place in May, something that culminates at the end of May. Just think about, we keep evolving into an NFL calendar in college football. And is that where we end up here, too, where you have some mini camps and then you have a spring game that happens? Maybe it's the Saturday before Memorial Day, something like that. You have a spring game then. Maybe that's kind of where this evolves to. But I do think that there's still tremendous value in it, and I do not understand the schools that aren't doing it. I think it's a total fumble when it comes to the NIL and just the money. It's free money. For the athletic department, it's free money.
Texas is going to do an open practice on Saturday, but
I don't get it.
Look, you watch guys warm up and do drills, or can I watch at least something a little bit more than that?
Yeah, and I've said this for years. The spring game at Ohio State's the unofficial start of spring, and the Memorial Tournament is the unofficial start of summer in this town. There are things that we look forward to that set our calendar. And for us around here, it's the spring game, it's the Memorial Tournament. They kind of set the college football off season and their rites of passage. And so, man, I hope that those don't ever move. JSN's going to be in town for the Victory Bell ringing tomorrow, which will be fun to see Jackson Smith and Jgba back in town. All of the conversation we've had about Carnell Tate and people, I talked to so many people, he's never been the number one at Ohio State. Neither was JSN. He wasn't either, because he never got to do it. He got hurt. And so we never got to see him be the one here. And I think that worked out quite well. You guys had this a little later in Thing or Not a Thing, but this is pretty interesting. So I saw this morning. He was asked a question. What's the setup on this?
So this is Eric Kennedy, who we're about to hear from, and John Schneider. So Schneider is the general manager of the Seattle Seahawks, and he does a weekly radio show on 7:10 a.m. out in Seattle. And they brought on their equipment manager because I think Seattle is, and correct me if I'm wrong with this, one of the more revolutionary franchises when it comes to new equipment. When it comes to, and Eric will tell you in this cut how they talk about scanning feet for all of their players.
I think the biggest thing is the freedoms, right? Like we've been very fortunate with John and Mike now jumping in there of giving us opportunity to grow, right? Like chasing edges and finding new things. And you're always trying to find little edges that can help players. And you know, from, let's just say, Jackson Smith and Jgba, you were talking about in college, he was wearing a size 12, had hamstring issues and things like that. Gets here, he's a 10.5. Where's the 10.5? Where's what he's doing? Obviously, with all the things Sammy and the medical staff and all those people are doing, it's a collective group, and I think it's been a big part for us working together. But it's helped him, right? He hasn't missed time and done things like that, and that helps build the trust for us with the players. Like about the last 15 years, we've been able to do some foot scanning and things like that.
It's a big thing. I have to assume, I'm pretty sure Ohio State does this now. The foot scan thing.
I mean, I've had
my
my
Browns
feet scanned at Fleet Feet. So if where regular jabrones are doing it.
Yeah. My guess is JSN said, yeah, I'm a 12. And the Seahawks are like, actually, you're not. You're not a 12. I'm guessing it wasn't negligence on the Ohio State side of things. I'm guessing it was negligence on his.
So Reese and I were talking a little bit about this before. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Bo, but I believe, don't most kickers in the NFL, like, they have the shoe on their left, or if they're a right-footed kicker, the shoe on their left foot is like an 11, but the shoe on their right foot is like an 8 or a 9.5 because they want it super tight so nothing's there.
They jam it in. They definitely jam it in there, but that's a preference thing too. I don't know if it's a 3-size difference, but they definitely jam it in. Yeah.
And it almost sounds like with this, maybe there was something that's off with JSN's feet, and when he has a shoe that's tighter, really tight there. Yeah. That it's like helping his leg be more in alignment and helping with his hamstring, keeping less torque or strain on his hamstring. I also wonder, though, like and I don't know, that seems like a big difference for JSN there, a size and a half.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, if something like this could possibly cause foot issues later on because his feet have nowhere to room. And, like, every time he plants, his toe is jamming into the front of his shoe. And
all valid. All very valid points. But, yeah, very interesting. And size and a half is a pretty big deal. NBA playoffs kick off tomorrow up in Cleveland. The Cavaliers hosting the Toronto Raptors. Get a preview from Tim Alcorn, radio voice of your Cavaliers. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
What's up? It's Matty Ice. Shed those winter blues and spring into a brand new 2026 Chevrolet Trax at McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. This month, you can lease a 26 Trax for as low as $179 a month for 36 months with $3,998 due at signing, or purchase for as low as $315 a month for 84 months with just $1,000 due at signing. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details. McDaniel GM Superstore just off Route 23 on 95 in Marion, or visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Coffee, sandwich, hash browns. Tired of the same breakfast routine? Time to refresh your morning ritual with a $6 Tim's Trio from Tim Hortons. It starts with a premium blend of freshly brewed coffee, a hot, savory breakfast sandwich made with freshly cracked eggs, and for a tasty twist, a daily baked donut to sweeten the deal. Ask for the $6 Tim's Trio. Your morning ritual refreshed. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer. Medium coffee only. Terms apply.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial pound law.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
This spring, celebrate the sparkle that she brings to your life with something that sparkles right back. Whether it's for Mother's Day, an anniversary, or just because, Diamond Cellar has the perfect gift for the women who mean the world to you. Visit Diamond Cellar today on Selma Road and at Easton Town Center.
Save big money on your next painting project at Menard.
Paints. Pristine interior paint and primer in one is Dutch Boy's best hiding and most durable paint. It delivers a smooth, elegant finish while providing maximum scalp, stain, and mark resistance. Save big money on Dutch Boy Paints and get your painting project started today. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. April's the perfect time to reset your home for the long run, and Universal Windows Direct makes that decision easy. Right now, when you buy 2 windows, you get 2 free, and there's no limit. The more you upgrade, the more you save. Plus 24 months with no payments and no interest. And if you need some more, how about a $500 bonus off your home improvement project? Schedule your free estimate today. Call 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Morning Juice is now on YouTube weekday mornings starting at 6. If you're a fan of Bobby Carpenter, he's ready to attack and dominate. If you're a fan of Jeff Goodoff, drive directly to a hospital. Seriously, The Fan.
Welcome back to the KeyBank Financial Playbook with Jeremiah Smith.
This play is called the rainy day out because everyone needs an emergency fund for a rainy day.
Jeremiah fakes left, past impulse buys and subscriptions, then gains 3 to 6 months' expenses right into the rainy day fund. What a gain!
That's money in the bank.
Poetry in motion, JJ. Until next time, KeyBank opens doors. KeyBank, member FDIC.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Gruden & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Gruden & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turn skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Gruden & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Gruden & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
The Raptors game 1 of their series tomorrow at 1 o'clock up in Cleveland. For perspective, we had it on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline conversation with a good buddy, Tim Alcorn. He's the radio voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tim, thank you so much for taking the time. From 30,000 feet, and your boots on the ground, from 30,000 feet, it almost feels like the Cavaliers and their fans have been waiting for this to get going for like a year. Is that obviously everybody wants to win everything they can in the regular season, but at the same time, it feels like this Cavaliers team specifically, this is what they've been waiting for. Is that a fair judgment?
It's 100% accurate. If you go back to 11 months ago, per se, Donovan Mitchell, I'm not sure if it was after the Game 5 loss to Indiana or maybe the next day in his exit interview with the media, but he said the 82 games next year won't mean a thing. It's all about the playoffs. And so this is a team that has been laser focused on getting to the postseason and getting beyond that second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and to that end, are they better? One of the things about this league right now is there are so many injuries around the league, and there's all this conversation about the 65 games and all of these things. They make the big trade for Harden. He's in the mix. When you look at this Cavaliers team as a playoff contender juxtaposed to what we saw last year, what position are they in? Better, worse? How do you view it?
Oh, better. Absolutely better. This is a better basketball team than last year's team was at this point. Now, it's a better basketball team post-trade deadline. When you bring in a Hall of Fame player, but one of the top 75, he was on the 75th anniversary team, and James Harden. And not just Harden, but Schroeder and Ellis. This is as deep a basketball team as the Cavaliers have had. And certainly through all the health issues that they had this season, the last couple of days at practice, everybody's been going full bore. So they're healthy, they're ready. As I mentioned earlier, they're hungry. And so I think they're positioned well to make a deep run.
Tim, what has it been like with James in the mix? Everybody has, you see him from afar. He's bounced around the league a little bit. As you mentioned, a top 75 player of all time, maybe one of the greatest one-on-one basketball players ever. He creates so many things for others. For folks who want to jump on this bandwagon down here right now, how has he fit in with Donovan? How has he fit in with the team on the court and off?
It has been seamless. I mean, yeah, a little bump in the road here or there, but for the most part, he has acquiesced. He has stepped back and become more the facilitator. He understands he does not have to be the point guy. He doesn't have to get 25 to 35 per game. And so those point guard abilities that he has, and it's just amazing to watch it night in and night out compared to having seen him 2 or 3 times a year in previous seasons. He has blended in beautifully, and especially with the big guys, with Allen and Mobley. That has been a real treat because he sets up those guys so well and then gets them the ball where they want it to be, and many times it's at the rim for a dunk.
Tim, how does this matchup with Toronto fit the basketball eye of the Cavaliers? Where are concerns for you? Where are things that the Cavaliers will should be able to take advantage?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. I think offensively, the Cavs are operating at a pretty high level right now. Again, James has fit in beautifully. They're top 5, top 6 in several categories on the offensive side, so I think they're going to be fine there. The issue for the Cavaliers has been at the defensive end. It has been so inconsistent. They'll lock down for 3, 4, 5 possessions at a time or a quarter. And then the next thing you know, teams are getting easy buckets. They're having great looks at the 3 ball. So I think that is a major concern going into the postseason. But all in all, the matchup with Toronto, I think the Cavs look at it favorably. This is a Toronto team, and listen, give them credit. Last year, they only won 30 basketball games. So they are on the uprise. But it's also a team that's still kind of finding their way. But great talent, Scotty Barnes. Of course, they've got a wonderful player in Brandon Ingram, R.J. Barrett. So it's a team that has some talent, but they're going to try to force you into an up-tempo, helter-skelter, racehorse type of basketball game, and that's what the Cavaliers have to be wary of.
Tim, big picture, they've been building towards this for a long time. And obviously last year you have all the injuries and it's so hard to be healthy. You look around the East and obviously with Tatum back, Boston is the favorite, but the Cavs are slotted in there second. Detroit's the 1 seed. And of course, acknowledging that injuries can happen, but in terms of as they're set up right now, because if you say to Cavs fans, what would be considered a successful season? My hunch is most would say, let's go win the East. Let's go do that, and then let the chips fall where they may in the finals. Is that kind of the way you're viewing this thing as we kick these things off, acknowledging you got to take it one game at a time and all of that?
Yeah, no, I think that's very fair. This is a team that for the past couple of years has not gotten past that second round. So absolutely get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I would agree with your assessment. Boston with Tatum would be the favorite, and that's not a knock on Detroit as the number 1 seed, but they built that big cushion while Tatum was out. And Boston just has that championship pedigree. But I think the Cavs, Bo, I think they have the deepest roster in the Eastern Conference. And I do think that depth will play dividends because it gives Kenny Atkinson so many different lineups and combinations that he can use. He can play matchup basketball against whoever the opponent may be. I think that's a big advantage for the Cavs, whether it's Toronto or it's Detroit in the second round or if they get to those Eastern Conference Finals against Boston.
Tim, great stuff. Always enjoy listening to you. Thank you so much for your perspective and giving us a little bit of your time today. Enjoy calling playoff games. It always is a little bit different.
Hey, let's do a few more of these as the playoffs unfold. Always great to be on down in Columbus.
You're on. Thanks, buddy. Hey, Reese, as you view this, as you're in your Cavaliers hoodie today, as you view this, fair? Go win the East?
Must have a competitive series against the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
7. Then you'd be like, okay, that's a win.
I would consider that.
They have an opportunity here to, I mean, we are there for sale here in Central Ohio. We do not have a Blue Jackets team to root for in the postseason. We've seen this with LeBron. Reese, you remember this. I mean, there were times we'd be the second, third highest rated market in the country for NBA playoff games when LeBron was here. Top 5 in the country. So I'm not saying they can do that because I think LeBron transcended. But this city can fall in love with them real quick. There's a lot of transplants.
And I'll be real interested to see just how this playoff is in its entirety is viewed by the NBA and by casual fans, because with game ones on Saturday, you've got Rockets and Lakers in game one of that series at 8:30 on Big Boy NBC.
Yeah.
You've got a pair of games, one in the East with the Cavs and the Raptors, one in the West with the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. That's on Prime.
Yeah.
And then the Knicks and the Hawks also on Prime.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
And the Cavaliers is crazy. It's like all Peacock and Prime, isn't it?
Game
the first
4
4
is on
games
ESPN.
Okay, so finally, but the first 3 are Peacock and Prime.
Correct.
So
you got
tough.
Prime, Peacock, Prime.
That's tough. All right, second hour of the program coming up next. Tim May in 35 minutes from now. Are we headed for a $100 million roster in college football? Some people say so. We'll get to it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
At Babs R Us, we believe home improvement is life improvement. As the Midwest's fastest growing 5-star bathroom remodeler, we're more than just transformations. We're a community driven by a mission to bring your dreams to life. Our installation team, part of the Babs R Us community, isn't just skilled. They're dedicated to respecting your home. Each day, they bring craftsmanship and hustle, turning your dream space, no matter the size, into reality. Together, we embrace a culture that values diversity, collaboration, and giving back. From supporting local projects to fostering a workplace where every voice is valued, Babs R Us is more than a company. It's a community of experts. We're also expanding locations to create more possibilities for homeowners across the Midwest. Wherever you are, you'll find us ready to turn your dreams into something you can see, feel, and enjoy every day. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement, or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BAB to schedule your free estimate, or go to babsrus.com. Babs R Us, where dreams soak in.
Listen up, Columbus. Before you buy or lease a new Honda, see Lindsay Honda first. For a limited time, every new Honda includes a complimentary gift. Choose a KitchenAid stand mixer, a 75-inch high-def TV, or a zero-gravity massage chair when you buy any new Honda. Plus, drive a new 2026 Civic Sport, just $199 a month, or a 2026 CR-V LX, just $279 a month.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
During the Honda Spring Event, see lindsayhonda.com for details.
Sun, splashes, and non-stop fun await at Zoombezi Bay.
Get your season pass for unlimited thrills,
including our all-new conservation tower. Buy now at ZoombeziBay.com.
At ADP, we know you want your landscape business to succeed, but we don't know anything about landscaping. ADP only knows how to handle the business of your small business. So if ADP focuses on the payroll and the HR, while you focus on the land and the scaping, success should follow. Just don't expect us to know all about Kentucky bluegrass, zero-turn cutting, or what to do with a woodchuck. That's for you to figure out. Let ADP help your small business focus on the part of the business you're good at. ADP for small business.
All right, professional landscapers, a quick heads up. Right now is the best time of the year to upgrade your lawn equipment because the Gravely Mow the Distance sales event is happening April 9th through the 19th. You can get up to 20% off Gravely commercial mowers, the machines pros count on for consistent results and season-long reliability. If you're adding to your fleet or upgrading this spring, now's the time. Stop by your local Gravely dealer today.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Now is the time to call Comer & Cross and transform your garage with a gleaming new Comer & Cross garage floor. Maybe your garage floor has exposed concrete with stains and cracks or a bad epoxy or paint job. Well, a new Comer & Cross garage floor will transform your entire garage in just one day. Now, here's the great part of this whole story. If you call them right now, they're going to take 50% off installation. Yeah, that's right, 50% off installation from Comer & Cross when you call them today at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. A Comer & Cross garage floor is the gold standard, guaranteed to never chip, crack, or show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. Plus, they make it easy. They'll take your stuff out of the garage for you. They'll fix your cracks and pits perfectly like it's a new garage floor, and then they'll apply the proprietary finish that you pick. Yeah, I said it. They'll fix your cracks and pits. What's wrong with that? That's what you want. So call them today at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR to get 50% off installation. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to comercross.com.
Tom's Garage Doors. Tom's Garage Doors. When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more.
I started my first business at 12 years old, mowing lawns for about $5 a yard. I thought I was crushing it until my buddy down the street undercut me by $2. But he didn't just cut the price, he cut corners too. That's when I learned if you do the job right, people trust you, and integrity beats profit. People care more about how you show up and whether you do what you say you're going to do. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Don's Garage Doors. From garage door repairs to upgrades, we show up, we crush it, and we stand behind every job. We only use the best parts, and the spring's guaranteed to last a lifetime. Because when you care about the people you serve, you work harder, and it shows. From repairs to upgrades, call Don's Garage Doors today or schedule online at donsgaragedoors.com. And yeah, we still beat the other guy.
Tom's Garage Doors. Tom's Garage Doors. When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more.
With Bet365 early payout, you win even if they lose. Get paid out instantly when your team goes up big, even if they blow the lead later. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. It's the annual spring game Saturday for Ohio State. Jackson Smith and Jgba is going to ring the victory bell before the boot meets the ball at the shoe. Here the spring scrimmage on the Fan with coverage tomorrow morning after tee to green. In baseball, the Guardians beat the Orioles 4-2 last night in Cleveland in game one of a 4-game homestand. Parker Messick took a no-hit bid into the 9th inning. Both teams are back at Progressive tonight at 6:10. As for the Reds, Cincinnati took 2 of 3 from the Giants this week. Redlegs are in Minnesota tonight to begin a weekend series with the Twins at 8:10. In NHL news, the Blue Jackets have extended head coach Rick Bowness for the 26-27 season. Bowness was 21-11-5 in 37 games after being hired back in January. And in the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers host the Toronto Raptors tomorrow at 1 in game 1 of their first-round playoff series. This update is sponsored by High Bank Distillery Co., locally inspired dishes and award-winning cocktails. Visit highbankco.com to make your reservation today. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Second hour here on a sort of Football Friday edition of the program. I asked a question on social. What are some spring game? Did you see that guy moments? Who are some names? This is like a walk down memory lane. RMG with Bam Childress, Matt Davis with Garrett Wilson, Kyler with Malik Hooker. This one from Ohio. It's I'm not sure what it is. But he said, my cousin was Nick Connor, underrated spring game MVP, which is just a great line that could only be applied here. Hey, guys, love the show. Go back and watch my cousin Nick Connor, local kid from Dublin. Tell me that's not the definition of a spring game MVP. Go Bucks. Kai Stokes, never to be heard from again. There are some of those where those happen. Jack Sawyer from Troy, also Haskins in 17, Troy Solsimus and Torrance Gibson, Ryan with Bam Childress, no question. Yeah, that's kind of what happens in these things. I think we're set up, and we'll get into what we want to see a little bit later, but I think we are set up to see some of, I think Tavian St. Clair is kind of the one that makes this one pretty intriguing, because then you get a little, to Reese's point earlier in the show, you get a little view of what's next.
Well, look, you tickle Buckeye fans when you put Tavian out there for the pro day.
Yeah.
You know, you'd think that they would have, obviously, Julian throw and then somebody else. They had a grad transfer last year as one of the older guys in the quarterback room. And they got a similar situation this year for Ohio State. But, like, those would be the arms. And out comes Tavian St. Clair, and you hear everybody who talked, like JP was out there, and Joshua even said, like, you know, Tavian looks good. And, like, we know this because you saw him at Bell Fountain, but, like, now this is the big time. And this is Ohio State at pro day in front of everybody who matters in the NFL. Like, we think this guy is special. Yeah. And special here is as special as it gets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. So where was this audio from Courtney Morgan? He's the general manager of the Alabama football team, and he was on, is this on a podcast? This is not on Josh Pates, is it? Or is it?
No, Front Office Sports News tweeted it out. I don't know.
Okay.
I think he is on some podcast, but I'm not sure what it is. Although The video has a FOS logo in the top corner, so maybe they do have their own.
So it's probably on them. It's probably their own podcast that they do. Courtney Morgan's the general manager of Alabama football. He was asked about building a championship roster in 2026. Here's what he had to say.
You never really know what other schools are spending, because everyone has creative ways in the third-party NIL, the authentic NIL portion of their spending to pay players. So you really don't know what other people are really doing. You kind of do the math in your own head by monitoring what other schools and competition are doing, wondering probably more than $40 million, but you just never really know. So what we've done is try to take things in our own hand and come up with different ways that we can help offset the cap through content creation, third-party deals. If you spend the time worrying about what your competition is doing, you're not taking care of what's going on in your own program.
So the stuff he says at the top is, which is what makes all of this so hard, because he flat out says you really don't know what anybody else is spending. You're just taking kids and agents' word for it. And then you've got the third party factor in it with the NIL. And then you have some that are doing actual NIL. So how do they balance all of that? Who the heck knows what's actually being offered? I do think, and we've seen this already, instances where players were promised things and it was not delivered, and lawsuits have been filed. Like, that has happened. So in the follow of all of that, Josh Pate, who does the college football show, I'm not even sure, is he still CBS? I'm not sure. I see him every once in a while on ESPN.
I think it's ESPN now.
Is he ESPN?
Yeah, him
now?
and his tight white T-shirts went over to the worldwide leader.
So there you go. It's a hell of a success story that he had. He basically, made himself a college football expert and did so. And a lot of people followed along, had a great online following, and the rest was kind of history for him. So never begrudge anyone who works hard and gets what they want. I don't necessarily agree with this tweet that he put out in the aftermath of this. I've heard a few $60 million estimates for 2026, with multiple GMs telling me the first $100 million roster is imminent within the current system. That led Indy Sports to tweet out, I'm almost 100% certain Indiana did not pay $40 million to win a national championship, which allowed our boy Curt Cignetti to say, correct, not even close. I think that there is some real recklessness that's happening here. The crazy thing about it is there's no way that anybody could prove Josh Pate wrong that that $60 million is being spent on one of this, because there's no accounting for any of it. None of it. We have no idea. So you can throw out a $60 million estimate, but is it being thrown out by a program to try to make folks around the country say, this is nuts, what are we doing? And to create some sort of a pullback on some of this, or some sort of legislation, some sort of guardrails, or is it a real number? And $100 million is nuts, guys. That is, if you're talking about 100, that is the only type of people who could do that would be like a Phil Knight situation. In the old days, a T-Bone Pickens situation, the Campbell guy at Texas Tech just saying, all right, that's it. Get me all the guys from Ohio State, whatever it costs. If it's $100 million, fine. Get me all of them. We're going to take Buckeyes and make them Red Raiders. And we haven't seen anything like that yet. And so $100 million to me is borderline reckless. I don't think we're in the vicinity of that.
One could take Curt Cignetti's tweet and says, correct, not even close, when you talk about the $40 million, and he could just mean $80 million. Like, yeah, you're not close to $40 million because it was double that. And also, who cares? You won a national championship. Like, it's all above board. I would almost, if I'm one of those programs, tell you what I'm spending. Say, here's how much the roster costs. Do you want to be a serious contender in college football? This is what it's going to take. And I know that's going to come across maybe arrogant or distasteful for some college football fans out there who are really, really, really disinterested in the way things are going. But this is the route. You're going to have to spend X amount because everybody else is spending the X amount. And then because athletes are going to ask for more, coaches are going to make more, then it's going to keep going up. And in a free market, you can't really regulate that.
I actually tend to believe Josh Pate here. And I tend to believe that the 60 million number is probably not that far off. And I also believe 100 million is closer than we think, because some of those guys you mentioned, Bo, like as Phil Knight gets older, what is the urgency for him to see Oregon win a national championship?
Sure.
What is it, Culberson? Is that his name at Texas Tech?
He's Campbell, isn't it?
Campbell? Cody Campbell.
Cody Campbell, yeah.
Cody Campbell. I could see him be like, hey, we're going all in this year. I'm throwing the bag at it. Go get it, and let's get a national championship. Now, it's easier said than done, right? Like we talked about Kentucky basketball this year, and they supposedly spent $22 million on their roster and got nothing to show for it.
Yep.
And I actually hope it happens. And I hope that team bombs. And maybe it brings all of this stuff back to earth a little bit. But I tend to kind of believe Josh Pate on these numbers.
I don't. I don't think 100 is imminent. Now, we just outlined the two cases where you could say on a one-off that it maybe. I just think that is so leaps and guys, we throw around these millions. Think
Fun
about
coupons.
how much. Think about how much the Cody Campbell guy's worth. He's worth $600 million or $700. What is he worth? $600-700 million last time I checked on it. If you're worth that doesn't mean he has it gold coins, Scrooge McDuck style. That's his that's what he's worth, his assets. The $100 million is straight cash, homie. That's straight cash. It's not stock. It's not properties. It's cash that has to be paid out. That number is just so massive. And I think sometimes once you get past 1 million, it's like, well, what's the difference if it's 2? Well, actually, it's double. All that it took you to get to 1 million, it takes that again to get to 2. And we just start throwing around tens of millions of dollars. That would be a borderline, almost a 3X of where we were last year on rosters, allegedly.
Would we be surprised, and we don't know the number, would we be surprised if Ohio State is spending $40 million on their roster this year?
Well, here's the thing about it, though. Because you say Ohio State is spending, let's say it's true, let's just assign the $40 million number. Who's paying for that of the 40? Is 5 of it Adidas for Jeremiah Smith? Is that part of it? Right? That's part of the number. So when you say is being spent on a roster, who's paying for it? And what are the boosters paying? So if it's a $100 million roster, then 10 of that is probably being paid in legitimate NIL via various companies.
Jeremiah Smith had his face on Red Bull cans.
Yes.
Julian Sain's everywhere. Like, this is absolutely how that works.
And I'm fine with that. But I mean, I don't think anybody's saying where this money is coming from.
But that's why it's
Alabama
impossible to
track. You'd never be able to find the numbers.
That's why you can't track it. So, like, he's throwing out $100 million. I've heard a few $60 million estimates. Well, who's telling you that? And what is their motivation for telling you that?
That's what I want to know. Like, is it LSU's general manager? Because I looked at Todd Graves, the Raising Cane's guy. He's worth $22 billion. At least that's what Forbes said he was worth in 2025.
Yeah. So for him, that's fun coupons. In that scenario, that's fun coupons. He could,
through his company, be paying a lot of these LSU athletes.
Absolutely.
So he's not actually footing any of this. Probably is too.
Yeah. Yeah. There are many ways to skin the cat on this thing. And I just think that number that's a big number. To say that it's imminent means in the next year, not in the next 5. And by then, I think there will be some sort of legislation on all of this stuff because there is already a healthy dose of donor fatigue with all of this stuff. All right, back to what is going to happen on the field, what we want to see from the offense tomorrow in the spring game. That's up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, I think I saw a fox on my way in.
Oh, that was the Carfax Carfox. He was congratulating us on our Carfax Top-Rated Service Center Award.
I have always rated Tire Discounters at the very top.
Oh, thanks. So does Carfax. And not just for tires, but for all our services, too.
Alignment, brakes, shocks, and struts, and more.
Yes, sir.
But, Mike, do you think people believe Carfax over me?
Well, you are the Phantom tire buyer.
Exactly.
Hop into savings this spring with Ohio Mulch. For a limited time, save $100 on home delivery at OhioMulch.com. What sets Ohio Mulch apart? Premium pine bark mulch made from southern pine, long-lasting and perfect for hydrangeas and azaleas. Better mulch, better results. Ohio Mulch.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Listen up, Columbus. Before you buy or lease a new Honda, see Lindsay Honda first. For a limited time, every new Honda includes a complimentary gift. Choose a KitchenAid stand mixer, a 75-inch high-def TV, or a zero-gravity massage chair when you buy any new Honda. Plus, drive a new 2026 Civic Sport, just $199 a month, or a 2026 CR-V LX, just $279 a month.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
During the Honda Spring event, see lindsayhonda.com for details.
It worked once, so we're doing it again. Sign up now for the Fan 5K, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center. We're back at Otterbein on Saturday, June 20th. Walk a mile with the Common Man, jog a 5K with T-Bone, or try to beat Tyvis in a 40-yard dash. Tyvis won't stretch, so there's a chance he pulls something. The fun starts at 8 a.m. Saturday, June 20th. Register today and earn a sweet medal, race T-shirt, and a photo op at the finish line. Sign up at 971therace.com. Prepare your tightest running clothes, and we'll see you at the Fan 5K on June 20th.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
Nobody ever cast a vote for Amy Acton, but she stopped yours. At the last minute, the day before the 2020 primary, Acton called off and canceled the election, defying a judge's orders and abusing her power to silence voters. Now, Acton wants more power as our governor. We already gave her a chance, and we've seen what she'll do. Suspend elections and silence us. Ohio can't afford liberal Amy Acton leading our state. We deserve a governor who will stand up for voters, not shut them down. As our governor, Vivek Ramaswamy will fight for us to protect our voice at the polls and defend election integrity by supporting safe and secure elections with voter ID. Because here in Ohio, voters have the power, not unelected bureaucrats. Protecting your voice to secure our future. Lower costs, bigger paychecks. Vivek Ramaswamy for governor.
Paid for by Vivek Ramaswamy and Rob McCauley for Ohio.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see some high thin clouds working overhead for the remainder of the day. It's another warm one with highs in the lower 80s, less windy than what it has been recently. Overnight tonight, plan on increasing clouds, lower 60s on the way. Saturday, a bit unsettled. We'll have occasional scattered showers and a few thunderstorms working through. A couple of those could be strong in the early afternoon, something we'll keep an eye on, with highs in the mid-70s. For The Fan, I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Justin Gertz.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are, and we are proudly and always brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for nearly 8 decades. I got this, we were in the NIL conversation. I got this on social from Nick, who writes, there've been collateral damage from NIL. My daughter is a pole vaulter, very high in state. Did you know that University of Florida, Northwestern, Wake Forest, many other schools are cutting field sports to fund football and basketball, limited offers for women's sports? The one thing I would say, though, that is not an NIL casualty. That's an athletic department casualty. NIL does not come from the athletic departments. It comes from the boosters. It comes from fans like us. It comes from corporations that actually do NIL. The $22 million that they're paying to their sports, that's pay for play. That's rev share, is what that is. That's not NIL. And so when schools are dropping, and to be candid, I don't like saying it, but it's true. I've asked Ross Bjork this directly. Can you really have 36 sports at Ohio State? Can you really afford to do that? And the answer is probably not. Not in their current setup. And that'll only get worse if they end up doing kind of the only real solution to this, which is to follow an NFL model where it truly is pay for play and you have contracts, you have all of those things. There will be more collateral damage from that, but there isn't. If schools are choosing not to play field sports, and by the way, if they're cutting field sports for women, if they're cutting those, then they have to cut double men because Title IX still holds up on all of this stuff. So if they're getting rid of track and field at these various places for women, then they're getting rid of 3 men's sports to make up for it because you still have to follow Title IX guidelines.
I think the point here is, and I think we all agree with this, the current landscape of all of this sucks. And it sucks that universities have to do this.
Universities are choosing to do this.
I guess they don't have to. You're right. They choose.
They're choosing to. They're choosing to pay $75 million buyouts to Brian Kelly. They're choosing to do that. They didn't have to. They're choosing to. They're choosing to pay strength coaches $2 million and head football coaches $12.5 million. They're choosing to do that. They don't have to. They're choosing to.
And for 30 years, they chose to do nothing when this was staring them in the face. The NCAA chose to hold firm to their amateurism model when all of this was right in front of them. House versus NCAA. I mean, O'Bannon.
Oh my God!
How long ago did that actually bubble to the surface?
20 years ago.
Right.
Now, right?
They had the opportunity. They just kept kicking the can down the road. And so this is what you're reaping because you sowed you just didn't do anything with it. And you could have really been proactive. Instead, you were reactive. But
yeah.
Yeah.
So they chose to go down this way. They chose to keep taking on the cash. And the other thing, and I talked about this a little bit when I was down in Tallahassee with some of their facility things, if it was a smart move or not. I just got this from Josh. It's the Alabama $47 million golf facility that the University of Alabama is built. And Josh wrote, I think accurately, wild investment into 2 non-revenue programs. Yeah, it is. Now, I don't know if the other component of that is there a membership component where all of a sudden that's the premier club in Tuscaloosa, and now all of a sudden you got a membership drive where you can fund things that way? That I don't know. But this is the conversation that you have. We just had this conversation this week about the shot and about Ohio Stadium. They want to throw, both of those things need some money thrown at them. Well, what is the primary thing that's most important to you? And the same people that's being asked to pay for that are going to be asked to pay for NIL for a quarterback in 2 years. So if you're one of those people out there who has the funds to be able to do that, where do you want your money going? Facility? Player? That's where your donor fatigue happens.
Maybe, I don't know. This is such a weird... It's all been ruined by greed in... part of it makes me think, well, if you didn't have the television deals, maybe more people would go to the places. Also, maybe we as fans need to quit worrying about our experience at these games and just go watch the games. I don't know. There's so much blame to go around in all of it, and it all goes back to, I feel like this all goes back to greed. Greed
starts
is
at the top. It starts at yes. Greed is good if you are the president of a university and you're bringing in more money year over year over year because of a television deal that was negotiated for college football. And they all took the money. So this is how we get here, and you can't put the genie back in the bottle, as we've talked about a lot. In terms of on the field tomorrow, offensively, I think we have a pretty solid read on this, fellas. I think what we're most excited about, Chris Henry for sure. My guess is you won't see too much of him, but I do think you're going to see a lot of Tavian St. Clair. Ryan Day addressed the quarterback room on Monday.
It's been solid. Every day you come off the field and, you get challenged and you have a certain opinion every day, is a new day. That's kind of how you have to look at it when you're a quarterback, because if you think what happened in the last practice is going to affect the next, it's not. Defense is going to throw new stuff at you. We have some things that we're installing, different situations, and that is one thing as we get into the last week of spring, more situational stuff. I feel like the room is strong. I feel like we have an opportunity to build some depth behind Julian and then build a future with the guys that are in the room. And so, we're working to build these guys up every day, but they have to realize and understand that, certainly Julian's a starter, but, they're one play away from playing in these games. And, we all know, the history of, guys getting injured and having guys step up. So depth is important at every position, but we know how important it is at quarterback. So there has been a lot of growth in that room, but we all know what the expectation is. The expectation is to step in and play at championship level.
Reese, you said earlier in the show that we had all seen Tavian play at Bell Fountain. I haven't. I didn't. I remember one time he came through here, Bake, and I think I had you on. This was before you were on the show. I think I had you on to preview it. He was playing somebody around here. I can't remember. Was it Grove City or somebody?
So they played London once, and we had it on the Fan. I think
what it was?
I think the game was on the Fan too that week because of Blue Jackets or something. But he did play London, and we aired it here on the Fan.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play. I've seen little clips. I see the stuff that they put up. I see like the recruiting stuff, right, that we saw in the process of that. But I've never seen him play a game. I've never seen him play. I've seen highlights. And I think most people are probably in that boat.
Yeah.
And I do believe that I think it's a very good chance we won't see one of these again. Like a 5-star guy who sits for 2 whole seasons before playing. I don't know if you'll see that again. Who else in the 5-star world has done that? Just go around the country and think of the guys who are 5-stars who's had to sit more than a year before bouncing. I mean, we got guys like DJ Legway who played 2 years at Florida that bounced, let alone 5-star guys who aren't playing.
Dylan Raiola is going to be a backup this year.
After starting for 2 years. Arch sat, but
he sat for 2, right?
Little different circumstances. I'm guessing. I don't know Tavian's entire financial situation, but my hunch is that his entire lineage isn't based on former NFL quarterbacks. So, yeah, I mean, I think I had a ton of respect for him, man. Understanding and seeing the big picture, that takes a mature individual to do that. I'm sure he's being compensated handsomely and all of those things, but he could have done what Aaron Nolan did. And look at him now. Where's he at? Memphis?
Yeah, Memphis.
Think about life comes fast. The other side of that is the Devin Brown thing where you wait, and then you never make it. And then you end up thinking, well, surely I'm going to go start at Cal.
The quarterback that's down at Alabama now, Keelan Russell, how many years has he sat? Just one?
He's in the same class as Tavian. He's in the same class. So you don't see it very often. I'm going to pull this up really quickly. I wonder where, if we go player rankings, so he was in the 25 class. All right, I'm pulling this up on 24/7. Here's the 25 class. So Bryce Underwood was number 1, obviously started last year. Keelan Russell was number 2. He theoretically will start this year at Alabama. Elijah Griffin. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a defensive lineman. Let me get position rankings. Tavian was the number 4 overall player. So then Tavian hasn't played. Houston Longstreet at Southern Cal.
Okay.
No. Is he still there? Malik Washington, Maryland. Deuce Knight, Auburn. Well,
Deuce Knight is definitely transferred because the head coaching changed there, and that Byron Brown has come in from USF with Alex
he brought his guy. Yeah. The kid who's number 7 is the kid who started out at Oregon and then started last year at Cal. He flipped and went to Cal at the end. But yeah, like these guys just don't stick. So yeah, good on him for doing it. It's a pretty cool thing, but I think it'll be the last of those guys that do. Get some perspective from Tim May in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When you leave a job, don't leave your 401k. Grow your investment without the fees associated with 401k plans. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
As the seasons change, it's time to prep your HVAC system with a $49 seasonal tune-up from Columbus Worthington Air. A seasonal tune-up can help save money on your energy bill and help prevent expensive breakdowns. As your local home service experts, everything we do is backed by our exceptional service guarantee. It all adds up to dependable service from neighbors you trust. Columbus Worthington Air and Bryant Heating and Cooling. Whatever it takes. Visit cwaohio.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 47543.
Austin Ward here, fired up for warm weather, golf season, longer days, more time outside. Ride the momentum and finally drop the weight you keep saying you will. With Awaken 180, it's fast, easy, and we're all proof that it works. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Our yoga instructor challenged us to find inner peace. I found it faster than anyone. After 4 seconds, I stood up and screamed, "I found Nirvana! I win!" They asked me to leave. I guess they don't respect winning. Bet365 does, though. New customers get $200 in bonus bets just for betting $10. Namaste, losers. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Bishop & Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The best facial hair on the air. This is Bishop & Friends.
It is a Friday. It is 10:30. Do we have Tim May? Efforting? Is he there? Is Tim May there?
Yes, I'm here.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it's realistic that Maverick wouldn't take Hangman on the last mission of Top Gun Maverick?
It wouldn't. It would have ruined the movie.
I'm not worried about the movie. He's the best pilot.
You got to go by the script. I would have liked it only because they wouldn't have recycled some of the old lines from the previous movie. At least come up with some new lines. Be creative. You know, do some of that pilot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
What are we talking about here? It's not the plane. It's the pilot.
It's not the plane. It's the pilot, Mav. Yeah.
I'm at the stadium right now. They're going through their little practice right here in front of the high school coaches. That's pretty cool.
So this is the Ohio State coaches clinic, right? So they have a lot of the high school coaches from the state. And then was John Gruden the keynote?
No, he was last night, and he was excellent. He was more than excellent. I just, Bo, things get in trouble. By the way, he did say if you want to get a hold of him, check him out at Barstool Gruden. On I think it's on Instagram or Twitter. Yeah. And he goes, I don't have email anymore. I thought that was one of the greatest things.
He's done.
Yeah, but I mean, that's why he's not coaching somewhere, probably, right? But
yeah,
too bad because this guy lives and breathes football, man. And I ended up sitting next to his Jeff, his number one guy, the guy he kept asking how much time I got left, because he could talk for 4 hours.
Yeah,
but yeah, just always, he came. I think it was when Tressel. Well, one of Tressel's later years, he spoke, and it was just as good then as it was now. But he was, he brings audio-visual stuff and all that kind of stuff with him. But just his passion for football is off the hook.
And it felt like for a while there that he was constantly rumored for every college football job. I mean, it was Tennessee, right. It was here. It was like, oh, he's a Buckeye. He's going to be the next coach at Ohio State.
Yeah, well, that was baloney. But I mean. Yeah, they did contact him, but he was with Oakland then, and he ended up going to, as he said, I think he's the only head coach in history ever traded. Maybe I'm wrong, and actually they got draft picks for him when they traded his contract to Tampa Bay. The Raiders
right.
did. Yeah, it was pretty funny when you think about weird stuff that has happened, especially with him. But he won a Super Bowl, so he's got the credentials. But yeah, it was really funny because last night he was showing these video clips of different things, and how, what are you thinking kind of things, and, who's teaching this defense, all this kind of stuff. And And he had like several clips of LSU defensively showing how you don't do it. So he's getting his shots in, he's firing shots.
That's great. Hey, do you think Ryan Day would say that this has been a successful spring?
I don't know. I'm sitting out here watching. I was just watching him a minute ago, and sitting there, and Brock Boyd, I'd call him a freshman sensation right now based on the way he's come into camp and shown out. But he spent like a minute and a half talking to him after a certain play when I think Brock, ran basically the wrong route or maybe the wrong read, but Brock was explaining to him, the give and take, you know what I mean, that was going on between coach and player there, a guy that may help you immensely in October and November. So just those little building blocks you're doing, and they're coaching Tavian St. Clair hard, man. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of spring he's had. It's been kind of up and down, I think, a little bit. I'm talking about for that backup quarterback job. But that Justin Martin kid they got from Maryland, in essence, a reserve quarterback. I think he's looked pretty good on occasion this spring. The little bit we've gotten to watch them. But yeah, I think they've gotten a lot done. They figured out some things on the offensive line by hook and crook. When you lose Cervell and Phillip Daniels full services for spring, after they get scoped, then guys have got to step up, and Carter Lowe and Ian Moore at the tackle spots. You heard him talk about the other day, but that's valuable because, I'm looking at a starting lineup right now on the offensive line coming out of spring. I think would be quite viable would be Ian Moore at left tackle and Austin Cervell at right guard. And you're going places with that offensive line. Phillip Daniels at right tackle. So you've had a chance. I'll tell you guys, look pretty good. A few times we've gotten to watch them like this extensively, believe it or not, is Matt Wilhelm's kid, Mason Wilhelm, he's been basically the backup center because Josh Padilla has been out, recovering from postseason touch-up surgeries, whatever. But it's, so I would think it's been fairly successful. They've got some guys coming on, and then I'm watching in the end zone a while ago, and the guys who are not allowed to take part in the contact part of practice are, most of them have had shoulder surgeries of some sort. You know how that goes, right?
I do, yeah.
But worth the price of admission was watching Riley Pettijohn and Bo Jackson compete in sprints across, 53-yard sprints across the field. I mean, dude, they got some players on this team. It's some athletes. Let's put it that way.
Well, for sure. And I mean, this is a spring unlike any other. 51 new faces. Ohio State's never had anything like that. And this is the first kind of full foray into the portal and into massive recruiting class, and all of those things factor into that. You brought up Tavian there, and to me, I don't know if we'll ever see another situation like that where you got a 5-star kid who's going to sit for 2 years and then theoretically be the guy next year, but he's also got to make sure that he is the guy. That's the thing I'm most excited to see tomorrow is how he performs under the lights, because Tim, I haven't seen him play. I have no idea what it looks like. What are you hearing around him, and that circumstance being as unique as it is?
Well, I think he's been a little bit inconsistent is what you're hearing, and just watching, you've seen it. But that's what you're hearing. And they want the quarterbacks. I mean, Ryan Day, I don't know if you heard that question I asked Ryan Day, what are you watching, like it's student appreciation, because I'm watching him watch, and basically I'm paraphrasing here, but he said basically he has to bite his lip at those kind of in those kind of situations, because you got the media standing there, you got students, you got parents. You don't want to be yelling at guys like you would in a regular practice stuff. But I think they've been disappointing is not the right word. Guys come along at different speeds, but I think I think the word is consistent. Your quarterback has got to be consistent, and he's got to be clear-minded when he's doing things. And there may be some cases where that's not the case, where that hadn't been the case for Tavian on certain practices and stuff. Quarterbacks aren't really allowed to have bad practices, meaning because that screws everything else up. So. But I don't want this to be an indictment of Tavian. I'm just saying
it won't be.
What I've noticed, what I've heard, and things like that. By the way, what I just saw a minute ago while I was talking to you was a play action fake boot by Julian Sayin I think it went for a touchdown. So, of course, they're not tackling today, but there's a development.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty comfortable with what number 10 is. And I think the other big factor here, and this will be something to watch for, Arthur Smith loves his tight ends. He loves the middle of the field. One of my big criticisms of Ohio State the last couple of years, I felt like they play almost the majority of the game offensively outside the hashes. And I do think the middle of the field will come back in a big way this year. What are you kind of hearing on Arthur Smith's influence on this offense?
Well, that's what's funny is last year there were times they had 4 tight ends on the field, in certain cases. But no, I mean he would like to do that, but you got to have the tight ends. I mean, the two kids who have transferred in. I like those 2 guys a lot. Hunter Welsing, one of them, Williams, the other guy, Mason Williams. I like the way they're playing and stuff. Christian Bennett is not, or Bennett Christian, whatever his name is. Don't call him late for lunch. And by the way, Jeff Snook reports that he's got a tremendous girlfriend. But
Jeff Snook does, or his girlfriend?
No, Christian. Christian.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure we had that.
Bennett Christian or Christian Bennett. Just don't.
One of them's got a nice girlfriend. Meantime, Jeff Snooks is still happily married.
I'm sure Jeff does too. But the thing is, the thing I like about Arthur Smith is though he's going to take what he's got. I mean, that's what stands out to me about his background is you take where your solid pieces are, you take it and try to move those chess pieces, make those work for you and stuff. So I'm really curious. I mean, and here's the thing. You also know this is not his offense. He's been brought in to get the number one, to call plays, but number two, to get the running game going again on a consistent basis, because that's what they lacked last year compared to the year before, to get some home runs out of the run game possibly. But, there's been a huge strain to make those kind of things happen in the spring. But when you're missing your top 2 running backs, it's kind of hard to judge where you are in that regard. But the emphasis is there. I think, but with Ryan Day, this is Ryan Day's offense, if you follow my drift. They're going to run what Ryan Day feels good about and comfortable about. And they're never going to abandon the passing game. But like you said, when you've got a first-year starting quarterback, for example, and it takes a while to feel comfortable having him, no matter who he is, throw over the middle. Throw into the middle. They threw over the middle a lot, though, last year, in my opinion. I mean, or quite a few times, let's put it that way. So by over, you know what I mean, with Darnell Tate and those things on some takeoffs and posts and things like that. But you're right. You gotta take what the defense gives you. And number one, they give you a lot sometimes over the middle in the intermediate passing game, and then number two, they give you green pastures for your quarterback to run on occasion. So that looks like it's been an emphasis this spring. The little we've gotten to watch.
Enjoy the rest of it, buddy. Look forward to you tomorrow on the Fan Spring Game Tailgate Show. Thanks for your time as always, buddy.
By the way, I put forward in my podcast this earlier this week that the Blue Jackets could use Urban Meyer to come in with his steel-toed boot to do some things. I think Rick Bowness Unleashed might be that guy. So we'll see, right?
We'll see. Yeah, hopefully we get some more talent too. We'll see you, buddy.
Hey, man. Bye-bye.
All right, we'll do a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File in the Credit Karma app.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications that top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is your time for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
It always seems to happen at the worst time. You're finally in bed after a long, hard day, and then you hear it. You sit up, heart sinking. Is that coming from the ceiling? All of a sudden, it's a middle-of-the-night flashlight hunt to find the leak. But don't worry, Newman Roofing has you covered, literally. With more than 3 decades in the business, we've seen just about everything a storm can throw at a roof. Our teams know how to spot the problem, explain your options, and fix it right the first time, with craftsmanship and care you can feel good about. We're not just here for a quick patch job, and we never will be. We're here to make sure your home stays protected season after season. So when it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, choose the company you can trust, Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Matty Ice here. April showers bring May flowers and incredible savings at McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. Spring into a brand new 26 Chevy Silverado 1500 and save up to $13,000 off MSRP. Plus, you can get rates as low as 1.9% with approved credit. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details. We're talking serious power, serious capability, and a seriously low price. You can find them just off Route 23 on 95 in Marion, or visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Ever wonder where your go-to maintenance person gets the metal products they need to fix yours and everyone else's problems? The best in the business go to Metal Supermarkets for their wide variety of metal products and shapes to tackle projects from simple to complex. Metal Supermarkets is your source for all metals cut to size and ready fast. No minimum order with maximum service. Visit the family-owned franchise on North Wilson Road or at Columbus at metalsupermarkets.com.
Your favorite fan shows are available as a podcast. What a concept. And don't miss exclusive podcast content like Austin and Byrne. Listen on your schedule from anywhere in the world. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Austin Ward. Listen to The Beat with Austin and Byrne, now powered by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Get the latest Buckeye news, insights, and unbeatable analysis every day. Don't miss a moment. Stream The Beat with Austin and Byrne, sponsored by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Ready to make it rain on the court for a great cause? It's the 3v3 Hoops Tournament at Ohio State University RPAC, Saturday, May 2nd from 12 to 4, hosted by NBA legend Kenny Anderson. Grab your 3 and let's see who the best trio in Columbus. For your shot at a share of $10,000 in cash, register now at classicforcolumbus.com. That's classicforcolumbus.com.
Presented by the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, Office of Economic Engagement and Community Development, and America 250 Ohio.
Spring is here, and there's no better place to make memories than the Columbus Zoo. See tigers up close, watch playful otters, and see the baby elephants in action. For a limited time, take advantage of our Zoo After 2 p.m. deal. Plan your adventure at columbuszoo.org.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and 32-ounce Yingling drafts for only $4. The friends are the guests and listeners. Reeser and Baker just work here.
Back to work. Back to work. Everybody, work, 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 work.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
So the definitely not dying Live Golf League is in Mexico City this weekend. David Faraday and Arlo White are the commentators for Live Golf tournaments. And yesterday they discussed the reports of Live Golf's demise.
It's a report that reports of the imminent demise of the Live Golf League were, in fact, greatly exaggerated. I've had a good chat with Live CEO Scott O'Neill in the last hour. He was very confident about the future, very bullish about the future of the Live Golf League, and we'll bring you that interview very soon during the show. David, what have you made of another week of noise this week?
Wow, it has been amazing, Arlo, for sure. I've been in the professional game for 50 years now, and I don't think I've ever had 2 or 3 days where there was more absolute absolute nonsense. It's spread out, and there are still some writers and broadcasters that take pride in their work, but this generation has spawned, a bunch of fast typists, that consider themselves to be experts, and evidently they're not.
Yeah, it must be exhausting trying to will the Live Golf League out of existence. Take a day off, everybody. Enjoy the golf.
Thing or not a thing?
I'm going to say not a thing, because I think, of course, that's what they're going to say, because nothing has officially been stopped yet. That's an reminds me a little. Was it Baghdad Bob when Saddam was at Iraq and he would have those press conferences? The enemy is ready to surrender. Remember him?
So he's become like a meme for Cleveland sports.
Yeah, it's a little bit of Baghdad Bobish. Like, nothing to see here. Everybody's leaving, so yeah, things there is something to see here for sure. So I think, what else are they going to do in that spot? They're still playing. They're broadcasting it. They have to address it. I don't know how else they would address it.
Yeah, I think for the most part, this is not a thing. I don't know who Arlo White is, but the dude really seemed like he's, he could maybe become a heel WWE manager there, because he seemed really indignant. Man, I forgot David Faraday even existed, and I really enjoyed David Faraday and his commentating on golf. I know some people didn't like him, but I enjoyed it. He had a show on the Golf Channel for a while, or USA, one of them, where he just did like hour-long interviews with people in the golf world or whatever, and I thought that was entertaining, and I had completely forgotten about him. He's just gone into anonymity with heading over to Live Golf, and you hadn't even heard from him. I miss David Faraday. I hope Live Golf ends and he gets welcomed back and is on the broadcasts again, because I always enjoyed him.
Yeah, he's very similar to the players. Like, it was a big check, and you can't blame him for taking it. Scott O'Neill, by the way, confirms Live is funded until the end of 2026. He also, this is within the last 2 hours, spells out the blueprint for beyond this season, but they need funding. Many Americans despise it. Many internationals love it. Is there a long-term future for Live Golf? Time will tell.
NFL Stadium Committee members, including Minnesota Vikings owner Mark Wolf, will meet virtually with Bears officials next week to review progress on two primary options: the team-owned 326-acre site in Arlington Heights, Illinois, and a proposed location near Wolf Lake in Hammond, Indiana. Bears president and CEO Kevin Warren has targeted a resolution by late spring or early summer, aligning with Roger Goodell's call for action relatively soon. In Illinois, the team seeks roughly $850 million in public funding. That has stalled in the General Assembly ahead of their May 31st session that ends that day. Without assured tax relief, the Bears officials say construction can't proceed. Indiana passed Senate Bill 27, which creates a stadium authority and commits around $1 billion in financing, including toll road adjustments. Bears chairman George H. McCaskey has noted that fans would adjust to either location, much as they did with prior venue shifts. Thing or not a thing?
You know what's interesting about this Bears Stadium conversation? When I was at the Combine, I asked somebody who I believe would know in the National Football League if the move to Indiana is real. And they said, no, it's not. It's all posturing for Arlington Heights. Then I asked somebody who I feel like would know from the Bears side of things, feel very strongly that they would know from the Bears side of things, if it's real. And they said, absolutely, it's real. We will absolutely move the Bears to Indiana. It's liar's poker right now. That's all it is. My hunch is they'll end up in Arlington Heights, and that'll be the end of it. Unfortunately, they're never going to get back into downtown. That's not it. But a second option that is an hour plus from the majority of your season ticket members is certainly not a solution either. So my hunch is that all of this will be to end them back in Arlington Heights, which is they own the land. My guess is they'll get it sorted out.
This seems like we've been talking about a new stadium for the Bears for 5 years. Mm-hmm. It just won't go away. This story is continuing. Also, and I don't think, Bo, the Bears, the McCaskey family, they're one of the families that their revenue is the team, right? That's their business.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, they're in a position where they probably can't just go out and fund their own stadium. Like, you want to avoid all this, just go pay for your own stadium. No, you know that's not going to happen because these billionaires want a lot of money. But is this a situation where the Chicago Bears bring on private equity, kind of like we've talked about with the Cincinnati Bengals? Are they going to need to do that?
I mean, the Gary Bears is a thing. It should be a thing. I saw this from our friends at Awful Announcing. So WrestleMania is tomorrow and Sunday, and they compiled some data of WWE and its appearances on ESPN's 3 flagship studio programs. Okay. Get Up, First Take, which First Take for the last hour has been WWE at WrestleMania. Like Triple H was just on with the gang. Pat McAfee show as well. Those 3 spent more time discussing WWE this week than Major League Baseball and the NHL combined. In total, per Awful Announcing, these shows dedicated 14 segments to World Wrestling Entertainment, while dedicating only 7 to Major League Baseball, 5 to the NHL. WWE was the 3rd most discussed sport in ESPN's daily programming, behind the NBA, 44 segments, and the NFL, 25 segments. Generally speaking, WWE segments went much longer than those dedicated to Major League Baseball or to the NHL. WWE segments accounted for 104 minutes of programming, while Major League Baseball and the NHL each accounted for 56. Pat McAfee's program accounted for nearly 90% of all Major League Baseball and NHL content across those 3 shows this week. Thing or not a thing?
It's agenda setting at its finest. They're in business with the WWE, and so they are promoting something that they're in business with. They have another example of this earlier this week with the WNBA and the way that they've covered that, the WNBA draft. The data would suggest that it is not worthy of the coverage that they've given it, but they're in business and bet big on the WNBA. Same thing that they did with the WWE here. So this is agenda setting at its finest. The thing that is most ironic to me about all of this is, and I'm not the wrestling expert, but I'm really good friends with one that is. And I do think that all Vince McMahon wanted was for wrestling to be treated legitimately by these this is years ago, right? Years ago, when it was all still a big act, right? Like everything was real. Remember all of that if you guys are old enough. Well, now they kind of own the fact that it's not, in terms of true fighting, that obviously it's scripted and all of those things. And now it's being treated as if it is. So the irony of that is not lost on me.
So, Bo, your point about agenda setting is great. If you're in bed with ESPN, they are going to talk about you. They are going to push you. And there is a tremendous want for WWE programming out there. It has a tremendous following and fan base. This is also not great for WWE because it means that WrestleMania ticket sales are not good. So TKO and ESPN are putting the full court push on this. They have also pushed their way into programming, and they have added Pat McAfee into this as you head to WrestleMania. They have added...
He's wrestling?
Someone named... but he's teaming up with Randy Orton here in the Cody Rhodes fight. They have added Cameron. Is he a rapper that does a podcast? He is involved in this now, and I Show Speed has been pushed involved to it, and there are a lot of WWE fans that are upset with all of it.
Yeah, it feels like that Triple H has botched all of this. They have no young stars, from what I can tell. They're redoing fights, matches that have happened before that are tired. Like Randy Orton still? Like there aren't any young guys that people are excited about. So it feels like they botched that from a talent standpoint. Final hour of the week coming up next. Mr. Lesmerises coming up in 33 minutes from right now. We kick it off with what we learned, and it was a lot. We'll get to it next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the Ohio State conversation you can handle. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Your Ohio State flagship station. The Fan.
The weather in Central Ohio just got better, so why shouldn't your loan rate? CME Federal Credit Union wants to try to beat your current loan rate by 2% on autos and toys. Plus, enjoy no payments for 90 days on car loans and no payments for 60 days on motorcycles, boats, and more. With car rates as low as 4.99% APR and toy rates starting at 6.5% APR, it's the perfect time to save. Apply today at cmefcu.org. Terms apply. Minimum floor rates 4.99% APR cars, 6.50% APR other vehicles. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hop into savings this spring with Ohio Mulch. For a limited time, save $100 on home delivery at ohiomulch.com. What sets Ohio Mulch apart? Premium pine bark mulch made from southern pine, long-lasting and perfect for hydrangeas and azaleas. Better mulch, better results. Ohio Mulch.
This is Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel. If you're driving and take a quick glance at your phone, more can happen than you might think. Because taking your eyes off the road for even just a moment is like driving the entire length of a football field blind. Don't let those few seconds distract you from what's right in front of you. Phones down, eyes up, Ohio.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
The new Omaha Steak Store is now open at 1033 Polaris Parkway at Polaris Commons. Stop in today and save 50% store-wide on legendary steaks, burgers, and more. Plus, get doorbuster deals starting at just $19.99. Discover the Omaha Steaks difference today at the new store at Polaris Commons in Columbus.
Hey, y'all. It's the Rocket Roger Clemens here. I spent years on the mound giving everything I had, and now I feel every inning in my knees, back, and shoulders. But I didn't want surgery, and I sure didn't want to be sidelined. That's why I turned to QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics Medical Director Dr. Christie and his team use regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No surgery, no meds, and no downtime.
Whether you're teeing off at the club or chasing the grandkids around, QC Kinetics helps you get back to doing what you love.
Call QC Kinetics now and schedule your free consultation. Natural joint pain relief with real results.
Don't let the pain slow you down. I didn't, and neither should you. My friends at QC Kinetics, they'll take care of you.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone here for Window Nation. Spring has arrived, and it'll be a great time to open your windows. But, oh, wait, your windows don't open easily. They leak when it rains. They've got cracked glass. They need repainting again. Ugh, getting top quality custom fit windows from Window Nation, that's easy and affordable. Right now, during the More You Buy, the More You Save sale, you could save up to 50% off all your windows. Plus, you could get them with 0 interest for 5 years. During uncertain times, one of the best investments you can make is in your home. Experts report that windows retain 80% of their value. With Window Nation, you'll get windows that easily slide open and closed. They are made with top quality seals so they won't leak when it's rainy or windy. And unlike other windows, they're maintenance free. They're so good, Window Nation stands behind them with a lifetime warranty. And they're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Save big with Window Nation's The More You Buy, The More You Save sale. Going on now. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com for your consultation.
Had a few repairs to your furnace or air conditioner this year, and now your system is acting up again? Stop patching problems and start enjoying worry-free comfort with Logan Services. We'll repair your system fast, or if it's time, replace it with a brand new one. And if you've had repair work done in the past year, no matter who did it, we'll pay you back up to $3,000 when you choose replacement. We're making home comfort easy. Logan Services.
Listen up, Columbus. Before you buy or lease a new Honda, see Lindsay Honda first. For a limited time, every new Honda includes a complimentary gift. Choose a KitchenAid stand mixer, a 75-inch high-def TV, or a zero-gravity massage chair when you buy any new Honda. Plus, drive a new 2026 Civic Sport, just $199 a month, or a 2026 CR-V LX, just $279 a month.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
During the Honda Spring Event, see lindsayhonda.com for details.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Ohio State's going to hold their annual spring game tomorrow at Ohio Stadium. It's a big noon kick from the shoe. It'll be televised on the Big Ten Network. We'll have it right here on The Fan with pregame coverage at 10 a.m. Jackson Smith and Jgba is going to ring the victory bell before the boot beats the ball. Julian St and the Ones will get some early work with thud tackling to start. Then the team will go full go after the starters finish a few drives. Bo Jackson, Isaiah West, and Legend Bay will not play because of injuries. In the UFL, the Columbus Aviators look to avoid 0-4 hosting the Dallas Renegades Renegades tonight at historic Crew Stadium. Kickoffs at 8 p.m. You can see that game over on Fox. In baseball Friday, the Guardians host the Orioles at 6:10. The Reds play the Twins in Minnesota at 8:10. And the Clippers host the Iowa Cubs at Huntington Park. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union, voted best local credit union for the last 8 years by CBUS Top Picks. Visit bmifcu.org to learn more.
When General Sherman marched through Georgia, he was listening to this show.
Use your skills for good, young warrior.
This is Bishop and Friends.
Final hour here on a Friday. Ask Fish where I see him in there. Ask him, Arlington Heights or Indiana?
He said Arlington Heights.
Yeah. He's fine, Chicago, and he knows what's going on. All right, final hour of the program. Doug Lesmerises coming up in 27 minutes from now. We kick it off with what we learned. Hit it, fellas.
We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery Co. Make a reservation today at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
So I think that the number one thing that we kind of learned this week, and it was really the dominant topic of conversation this week, was the Blue Jackets, and we'll get to the bonus comments, and Bake asked a question in the press conference yesterday I want to get to in a second. But before we do, you had mentioned that the Aviators play at home in the update there, Reese. Ohio State plays Michigan in lacrosse. It's senior day for that tonight as well. Which will have a bigger attendance number? I know Ohio State Michigan lacrosse is sold out. I think it's standing room only there, but it's sold out. But I think maybe we can still do some standing room only.
Ohio State Michigan.
I don't know what the capacity is.
I think it'll be the Aviators because I don't think the capacity at the Ohio State lacrosse is going to be, and it's just the second home game for the Aviators. So I still believe, even though the team has not been great so far, I still believe that people will be out there for the novelty of it. So I think the Aviators, I still think you get over 10,000 at the Aviators game tonight.
You're right. It'll be Aviators. Ohio State's seating capacity is 2,500. Their record is 28-54.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'll end up. I think I'm very fascinated to see what the Aviators, what it looks like tonight, because it was great week one when they came out here. We had Rapoli on here, and everyone was jacked up. They lost the game. And you talked about some of the things that you thought that they needed to address there, Bake, in terms of the speed of the gameplay and getting things moving a little bit. But then in addition to that, they haven't won yet. But, I mean, are the people that are going, are they paying attention to them winning and losing, or are they just something to do with it's fun on a Friday night?
That could be. I think the Aviators also threw out there this week $10 tickets. I think they did a $10 ticket promotion to get more people in there. So I still think it's new enough that the novelty hasn't worn off.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, the proof will be in the pudding in terms of the attendance numbers tonight and what would be a success for them on that side of things. Easily the story of the week around here was what that happened at the end of the Blue Jacket season. And I wouldn't have had this. I told you guys this on Wednesday's show, that if you would have told me that we do an hour of Blue Jackets to start the show, I would have said no. But that happened because of what Rick Bowness said post-game, his interactions with Aaron Portzline, our great friend of The Athletic, and that led to a lot of dialogue. And I think one of the things potentially I learned this week is that back and forth post-game Tuesday sealed Rick Bowness's fate to return. I think there was a good chance he was going to return anyway. And I asked Porty this when we had him on yesterday's show. I said, and his answer to that was pretty simple. How could you not bring him back after that? So it's only a one-year deal, and their attitude of this is we're just going to take it year by year. But if that doesn't happen, are we sure he's back? I don't know.
No. If he doesn't do that, then I think it's much different, because I think it showed how much he wants to be a part of this still. Like, he wants to be the guy to turn this around. He wants to be the guy to change the culture.
It resonated so greatly with the fans.
Yeah. That's as much
loved it.
He gets us as you could ever hope for from somebody within this organization. That hasn't happened but maybe once in the history of the franchise, where you're like, that's the guy.
It's that, it's Tortorella, and it's Ken Hitchcock. All three of those were what he did. I mean, Torts was a tornado. And then Hitch was, oh, we got a guy who won the Cup. I mean, those moments I remember vividly in Jackets history.
I think Bonus was back regardless to get it done that quick. I believe it was happening. I believe it was Don Waddell said that he didn't talk to him until Wednesday morning. And I do believe Don at that, but I believe Don had already made his decision. It's funny you talk about it resonating with the fans, and I talked about this the other day, and he may have been part of the problem. But it's just funny when you get the message from a different messenger, because Patrick Laine said the exact same thing. His first return trip to Columbus with Montreal. Said the exact same thing. And Zach Werenski was fired up and had this big press conference saying he doesn't know why he would say that. He was our friend and this and that. Rick Bowness says it after a lackluster finish to the season and a lackluster performance in the last game of the year, and everybody loves it. It's just kind of interesting how the same message gets perceived from different messengers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And then that led to the press conference we had. Oh, go ahead, Reese. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's different from the guy in the foxhole than the guy outside the foxhole.
Yeah, he's still in it.
It shouldn't be, though.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah. This press conference yesterday was an interesting one that they had. And, Bake, you had the question towards the end because one of the things we kept hearing about was we got to get to the playoffs. We got to get to the playoffs. I mean, where do you guys think chasing the 8 came from? It's a mentality. So, Bake, do we have your question in here?
Yeah, we've got it.
Go ahead.
We've talked about changing the culture around this team, and we've talked a lot about getting this team back to the playoffs. I know there's steps and levels to all of this. How much do you guys with the players talk about the Stanley Cup and that being the goal, not just getting back to the playoffs?
Well, I've said from day one, you take steps, right? So certainly our goal, and we're disappointed, obviously, this year that we're not there, is, we want to stop. We're answering this question every year right now when we're not making the playoffs. How come you're not in the playoffs? But I've said, you got to, once you get into the playoffs, then you stop talking about making the playoffs and you start winning about a Stanley Cup. So certainly, I think there's steps in the process. And, as I said, we're all frustrated and disappointed at the way the season ended. But, the Stanley Cup's the prize. That's, Rick and I talked about this morning for a little bit. That's why he's here, to win a cup. That's our ultimate goal, to be in a Stanley Cup finals and be able to win a cup is what we all want to do.
There's not one player in this league that doesn't want to win a Stanley Cup. There's not. If they are, they're in the wrong league. If they don't, I'm sorry, they're in the wrong league. So, yeah, you don't win the cup until you get in the playoffs. But every player, as soon as they sign a contract, as soon as they're skating, that's all the players want to do. They want to win a Stanley Cup. So, yeah, that's the motivation. But the process will get you in, but you got to get in first, and then that'll take care of itself.
I think so. I like the question you asked, Bake, because we hear make the playoffs. But why is that the goal? That's a pretty low bar. Half the league makes it. What are we doing? Half the league, that can't be the goal. Like if you had that press conference with the Rangers yesterday, you think they're saying we got to get to the playoffs? Or do you think they're saying we're going to have an offseason to put ourselves back in position to be cup contenders? I mean, that is kind of been the theme of this week. What's the standard? What is the culture? How do you have culture in losing? All of it. It all connects, guys.
And the thing that made me ask the question was Rick Bowness said, I came here to do a job, and that was to get this team back in the playoffs, and I want to stay and finish that job. Well, yeah, and like I said in there, I know there's levels, but the main goal, the main job should be the Stanley Cup always. Anything that's not the Stanley Cup is a failure. That's how we look at Ohio State football, right? Ohio State football, if they don't win the national championship, it's a failure.
Yeah.
So
I think with Bonus sticking around next season, I'm also curious to see if there is a succession plan. Because it's one thing if he changes the culture next season and the Jackets are able to make a playoff run But then what do you do after that? Is Bonus, who's 71, going to be sticking around for 3, 4, or 5 seasons? I heard Jackets Insider Jeff Swoboda on with T-Bone and Tyvis, and he had surmised that Bonus will bring in his staff because he was dealing with a lot of Dean Evison's staff, obviously getting hired in January. That's what happens. But Trent Vogelhuber is the head coach of the Cleveland Monsters, formerly known as Lake Erie. And there's been speculation that maybe he comes down and is the coach in waiting for this because Monsters have been a very successful franchise.
I really don't care who the coach is. I just would like a team that is not chasing the 8 again next year. And quite honestly, you can fast forward to September. I will have as many questions. My hunch is, and this is maybe sad, my hunch is I'll have as many questions about what this team is in September as I do right now. Because I have no idea what I just watched this year from some of these guys that I thought were going to be foundational guys. Foundational. So I don't really know what any of that means. I don't know how the roster is going to get demonstratively better. They had 92 points. I mean, all of us would have viewed that as a success at the start of the year.
If a full year of Rick Bonus is 21, 11, and 5, I'm guessing you're going to be in and not chasing the 8. But can you do that for the whole year?
Yeah, but then what do you do with it if you do? Are you a threat when you get there? That's what we want. Like, I'm sick of hanging banners for making the postseason. That shouldn't be the goal in a league where half the teams make it. Certainly the standard different at Ohio State. Trying to contend for a national title again next year. A lot of the preseason stuff have them number 1 overall. If that's the case, there will be a lot of new faces that need to show out bigly on the defensive side of the ball. We'll preview what you need to look for on that side of the ball coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic. Oh, yes. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Great Lakes Hyundai, the savings are so good.
This spring, take a break from interest with 0% financing for up to 60 months on new 2026 Tucsons. 0%. Go now, Columbus or Dublin or glakeshyundai.com. With approved credit ends 4/30.
Whether you love or hate winter, I think we can all agree we need some spring color to brighten up our lives after this winter. For 86 years, spring color starts at Oakland Nursery. Blooming shrubs, fragrant lilacs, hydrangeas, azaleas, and rhododendrons. And don't forget Central Ohio's largest selection of beautiful roses with thousands to choose from. Hey, we've all earned it this year and are entitled to an explosion of vivacious spring color. If you haven't been to Oakland Nursery, you simply haven't been to a nursery.
Recently, our company softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Dale's a loser. I play to win, like early payout from Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Getting a little older doesn't have to mean, well, getting older. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if you're feeling low energy, can't sleep, can't lose weight, are struggling with brain fog, or your sex drive is off, it's time to change it up. At Tri-State Men's Health, our advanced medical strategies featuring TRT, GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, and more treat low T and other hormonal issues to help you shed pounds, have more energy, enhance your body composition, improve sleep, increase your sex drive, and so much more, getting you back in the game again. So don't be older. Be stronger in the gym. Be sharper at work. Be better in the bedroom, and be more confident in every part of your life. So call us today and find out how our advanced treatment strategies could change the game for you. Your first visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on one of our advanced treatment plans on the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
BMI Federal Credit Union is celebrating their 90th anniversary all year long with monthly sweepstakes. Get in on your chance to win free gas for a year when you lower your car payment with a BMI FCU auto loan. Apply today at bmifcu.org/gas.
Mike Rowe here with another random fact. Those cracks on your walls aren't just cosmetic. They could mean your home is sinking. Whether it's drywall cracks, exterior cracks, or sticking doors or windows, do yourself a favor and call a Groundworks company. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to stabilize your foundation. Schedule a free inspection with Ohio Basement Authority, a Groundworks company.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Join our resident gambling degenerates, Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas for On the Money. Sunday mornings at 9.
Presented by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
The Fan.
This is Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel. If you're driving and take a quick glance at your phone, more can happen than you might think. Because taking your eyes off the road for even just a moment means you could miss everything happening around you. Don't let those few seconds take your attention away from what's right in front of you. Phones down, eyes up, Ohio.
We plant trees because people need trees, and when planted in the right place, they have great impact. Trees help slow climate change, filter our air and water, foster biodiversity, and strengthen our communities. They create the kind of transformational change the world needs now. April is a month filled with opportunities to care for and plant trees. For planting resources, contact an Ohio ISA certified arborist who can help you learn how to take the best care of your trees. Visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see some high thin clouds working overhead for the remainder of the day. It's another warm one with highs in the lower 80s, less windy than what it has been recently. Overnight tonight, plan on increasing clouds, lower 60s on the way. Saturday, a bit unsettled. We'll have occasional scattered showers and a few thunderstorms working through. A couple of those could be strong in the early afternoon, something we'll keep an eye on, with highs in the mid-70s. For The Fan, I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Justin Gertz.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. Reese's mustache is so nice, it has its own area code. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Saturday's a spring game. The Fan's got you covered. 10 a.m. Peloton, you fan tailgate show live from FanFest. AR, Tim Bay, Bids. They'll get you ready for kickoff. It's the Peloton Spring Game Fan Tailgate Show. Join the community passionate about ending cancer. Pelotonia.org. And presented by KeyBank. For every financial need, we'll meet you in the moment. KeyBank opens doors. We talked a little bit about Tavian St. Clair, and that was interesting. What did you guys make of Tim May's conversation? Some of his thoughts about some of the inconsistencies Tavian's had.
Well, I guess you'd almost expect nothing to go swimmingly.
Yeah,
I can't say I put too much into it. I was like, yeah, all right. He's not going to be the most consistent because he's getting reps with a lot of new guys. I mean, I would only really expect, because Brock Boyd's flashing and he's a 3-star wide receiver. Like, he got his black stripe up before Chris Henry. So, take everything with the largest grain of salt that you possibly can.
Yeah.
51 new players on this roster. So many of those new guys are working with Tavian St. Clair for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, he's taking reps with Jeremiah at practice.
It made me stop and think for a second, just because everything that I had heard from people who had been in practice this year so far, including Joshua Perry, had said that they thought Tavian St. Clair looked like he had taken a step and looked like he was a guy that was ready to say, I'm next.
Yeah.
So when Tim May says that, it took me back for a second because he's the only one I've heard say that so far.
Yeah, and I mean, when he said he's being coached hard, here's the thing with him. And this is kind of that, we talk about parallel paths sometimes, right? You're coaching season at a time now more than ever. So you have a returning Heisman finalist quarterback. You got the best player in the sport. You have the returning offensive line. Let's go. This is who we're going to be. But in the meantime, Tavian St. Clair has the rest of this year. He's had this offseason, the rest of this offseason, and next year to prove to them that they don't need to go the Will Howard route and bring somebody in here to compete with him. You know what's a win for Tavian St. Clair? If next year at this time, he's just the starter. That's the win. That's what his goal ought to be. Next year at this time, if it's him, some grad transfer guys, and maybe a freshman incoming class, I haven't even looked to see if they got a freshman in this next class. My hunch is they do. If that's the quarterback room, then he's succeeded. If they go get a transfer guy in here to compete with him, then that's opportunity lost, and he'll probably never take a meaningful snap here as the starter, barring an injury to Julian. That's his job. And this is, you can say, well, Bo, he's in year 2. That's a lot. This is the business. It's the business we've chosen. He's got the rest of this year to make sure that they don't go hunting in the portal for another quarterback to compete with him. That's the job. So, and my guess is that's why Ryan's coaching him hard, is because he's got to see how he can handle it in the fire. Defensively, offensively, in terms of what you're going to be next year, you know who's coming back. You know the type. You know what it's going to look like. So many returnees. On the defensive side, you are losing 3 top 10 picks in next week's NFL draft. 3 of them are going to go in the top 10. You're missing them. Massive leaders, incredible impact players. I mean, this is top 10 NFL pick stuff. I'll have to ask this. We're going to have threes on next Thursday at 9:30. I'll have to ask, and we should probably have the MIT kids look into it. Has any NFL team, any college team, had 2 linebackers taken in the top 10 of the same draft? If Styles and Reese go in the top 10, has that ever happened before? Where 2 linebackers have gone in the top 10. That'd be worth a conversation.
I think at least in the last 10 years, I went back and looked, and it has not.
Yeah, I can't imagine it has, Reese.
So it's rarefied air if it's ever happened before from the exact same team.
Illinois had 2 defenders in the top 3 with John Hardy and Simeon Rice. Penn State had 2 defenders in the top 3 with Courtney Brown and LeVar Arrington. But I don't know about 2 linebackers. I mean, that would seem to be, well, we can look into that. Pretty rarefied air, certainly, especially for 2 guys who maybe didn't come in as true blue linebackers on the way in, but threes shaped them in that way. In terms of that, though, big picture for next year on this Buckeye team, big shoes to fill. It starts with Caleb Downs. Here's Ryan Day on who has stepped into that role.
We're trying to get everybody to communicate more, just across the board, loud, let your voice be heard, and it's all of those guys back there. We play with those 3 safeties or the nickel coming down. I mean, all 3 of those guys have to communicate. The corners have to communicate, so the linebackers have to communicate. So really just talking to them about being loud, and volume exudes confidence. So it's everybody, but certainly Caleb is, someone that was excellent at it. He did a good job in the meeting rooms connecting with guys and making sure everybody's on the same page there. That was almost just as important as when he's on the field making the calls, and so that communication is an area, like, again, we put up on the board some of our goals for the spring, and one of them was communication and creating a personality as a team. I think we're getting better at communicating, but again, we still got a long way to go.
Edric Houston was asked about some of the new guys stepping up, and there's going to be a lot of them. Here's what he had to say.
Hold on one sec.
It's all right.
I wouldn't say we're changing out anybody, because we always had great players behind Kenny Curry, Zion Grady and people just such as that. I just feel as though it's time to take that next step for all of us, because we lost a lot of people, not just with Kenny Curry. We lost Tywone Malone, we lost K-Mac. So we lost a lot of key pieces, so it's time for us to take that next step.
Just think about this from a 2-deep perspective. 2 new guys in the secondary, nickel, free safety. We feel like that'll be Terry Moore and Earl Little, but we'll see where all of that shakes out. 2 new linebackers. Peyton Pierce will be one of them, obviously. I think Christian Allegro is probably brought in to be the other one. He's a senior transfer. If Riley Pettijohn was going to try to play his way onto the field as a starting linebacker, the injury, it's no fault of his own, but the injury makes that very difficult. And so he's going to have some big-time ground to make up if he's going to try to be a starter next year in his second year. No threes loves him, but it's just injuries happen, and they happen to him. On the defensive front, there's going to be some new faces. They went into the portal, landed some guys, and we'll see what all of this looks like. You're going to get your first taste of this defense. Matt Patricia, year 2. Year 1, he stepped on to an absolutely loaded freighter. Loaded. And he just had to get it to port. This year, he's got to load the freighter a little bit. In my hunch is he had a big say in a lot of these acquisitions that they made in the portal, and there were types that he was looking for in the portal, and my hunch is they found those. That's something I'll be watching for tomorrow, is what does that look like? It feels like the secondary wide receiver battles have been pretty hotly contested. I look forward to seeing that tomorrow, because without any running backs and with all this linebacker injuries as well, they're just going to spin it all over the place. That's my guess what you're going to see tomorrow.
Which good. Fireworks for the fans.
Yeah.
You see guys flash wide receiver spots, and you see how well can some of these transfer portal guys handle the smoke.
Yeah.
all that makes for exciting football. All that makes for a lot of us, especially when we look to games coming up this season where they got like Texas. How's this going to look against Arch Manning and a much better wide receiver core than he had last year? What's this going to look like against Oregon? What's this going to look like against other teams who are going to want to do that?
Yep.
And how does it all factor? It's why the spring game's so much fun.
Yeah.
Bo, I went back all the way to 2000 here.
Yeah.
And in 2006, Florida State had Ernie Sims picked with the 9th pick and then Cameron Wembley with the 13th.
Wembley's a DN, though.
I mean, they
list him as a linebacker?
Yeah, they have him listed as a linebacker here. And then 2004, you had just outside of the top 10, Jonathan Vilma from Miami go 12 to the Jets, and DJ Williams go 17. But that's the closest to 2 linebackers in the top 10, at least back to 2000.
That Ernie Sims is the one I tell the story about. Auburn, Georgia, Florida State, all unretired 34 for him. If he would have signed there, he's the number 1 player in the country.
And Cameron Wembley, a great pick for the Browns.
He actually was great as a rookie. I think he had 11 sacks as a rookie, Bake, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did get off to a hot start, and then it went away.
He kind of only had one move, and that was it. He played about 10 years in the league. Doug Lesmerises in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Hey, it's AR here for Germain Honda of Dublin. If you've been thinking about upgrading your ride, now's the time. It's the Honda Spring Event at Germain Honda of Dublin, and they've got seriously low lease rates on the Honda HR-V and Civic for well-qualified buyers. I'm talking reliable, fuel-efficient, and fun to drive without stretching your budget. Stop by Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270. Check them out online at germainhondaofdublin.com. The Honda Spring Event won't last forever.
With over 33 years of experience, Newman Roofing has become a household name in Central Ohio. Voted best roofing company 4 years in a row, Newman Roofing delivers a white glove experience every time. When it comes to your roof, call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com today.
Grilling season starts now at Billiards Plus. Shop top-of-the-line grills and turn every cookout into a win. Then bring the fun inside with pool tables, shuffleboard, and more. Everything for the ultimate game room. Billiards Plus. Grills, games, and good times. Online or on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is your job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is. He's the host of Bill and Doug Show on YouTube. The Substack is Bill and Doug on Ohio State football. Bill and Doug, OSU.substack.com. He is the great Doug Lesmerises, and he joins us on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Your first Ohio State spring game appearance, first time you covered it, what do you recall?
I have a terrible memory, man. It would have been the spring of 2006. I mean, I will say the stuff that sticks out to me the most is sort of, there's two things, right? One is being in the team room when Tressel would really have, like, guys draft teams.
Yeah.
Right? And it was much more a thing. And the one thing I can remember, it wasn't my first year, but, like, when they got Justin Boren from Michigan, and he was clearly going to be a starting guard for Ohio State, and they drafted the teams, and like Justin Boren's teams didn't have any tackles, and they're like, well, I guess Justin Boren's starting to tackle, and it was like, he's not a tackle, he's a guard, and it was like, sorry, that's how the draft went. And that's how big of a deal it was. And then I can remember, right, the losing team would have to mulch Buckeye Grove like the next weekend. And then I can remember going to watch half the team put mulch down. And it was like really like this is a game, this is a thing. And like the veterans being in the front of the team room and the media was allowed to be there, like strategizing of how to draft this team. And then you got an indication of like what players thought about other players by the way the draft went. And so I do like that was really fun, I think, for the fans. It was competitive. Like, again, there was a punishment. And we've gotten away from that. But like that kind of always stuck with me.
I had forgotten about that. And as you were retelling it, then it all came rushing back the way that they used to do that thing, Doug. You know, the reason I asked, though, is because we're like with the sport in general, you're kind of in a crossroads right now of what spring games are. We have LSU's not having one. Colorado had one. Dion played a game, much similar to the one you just described. We're going to have a game, sort of. There isn't really a winner and a loser. It's usually offense versus defense and kind of the convoluted scoring system that they go. But you're going to see some real football. What do you think the future of these are?
I mean, I do think the overall future probably is in August, like a real preseason game against another team, which then I wonder if it spells the end of some kind of spring thing where it's like the thing that they want to get the new guys like in the stadium in front of people and just run through that before a real game. I just think maybe if we wind up with that in August, then maybe we won't do it in April. And maybe we get more to where spring is more like NFL OTAs and that kind of thing. And it's not to this degree. I love spring games. I tell people to go. It's a great time to take your family out there for cheap. You're still in one of the great stadiums. All the players on the field you care about, right? Like I still love that, but I wonder if that's the end game is a version of an August game that kind of takes away the need for a spring game.
God, I hadn't even this is why you get smarter with Doug. I hadn't even thought about like a preseason game. God, in my head, I was thinking, okay, kind of, it becomes mandatory minicamp like in the NFL, and the spring game happens kind of at the end of May instead of that. But what you just laid out might actually even make more sense by the time you get there. I'm with you. I think they're awesome. I think it's like the unofficial start of spring in Central Ohio is kind of what I've always tabbed it, is we kind of have nice weather. Let's get outside. Let's see our neighbors again after kind of bunkering in for the entire offseason. In terms of what I can learn from this one does have a couple of things that I'm curious about. And, Doug, for me, it starts with Tavian St. Clair. Julian's back. We know it. He's a Heisman finalist. I don't know if we'll ever see a Tavian St. Clair type quarterback again where you have a 5-star kid who's going to sit for 2 years before playing. And I've never really seen him play, Doug. What are you hearing on him, and where does his performance tomorrow rate for you in terms of things you're looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, like really high. Like if you want to blow up your mind, right, you start thinking about 2027 quarterback. Like what if Julian St doesn't go to the NFL? Like you can make yourself like a great problem, like too many good quarterbacks. There's no reason for people who love Ohio State football to do that to themselves right now. But we don't know what the future holds for Tavian St. Clair. And this is a homegrown kid from Ohio who's a second-year starting quarterback. Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud, Julian St, their second years in college. They were the starting quarterback at Ohio State. That's what Tavian St. Clair is right now. He could be that. If Nick Saban didn't retire, we might be at the spring game being like, all right, it's Tavian St. Clair time. Here we go. The context around him changed. He didn't change. So that's what you have a chance to see tomorrow. And, like, we just were watching a little bit of stuff today at practice, and it's just like there are some highs. Like, they're like, oh, there's a throw. But it's just like when you maybe put him the overall command, snap to snap, down to down, compared to Julian St, who's been a starter for a year, not the same. Right? So I think there's going to be flashes tomorrow. Chris Henry Jr. flashes. Tavian St. Clair flashes. Brock Boyd flashes. But, like, what does it mean? Are they doing it every snap? But, yeah, there's the top 3 quarterbacks in his class. One was Bryce Underwood, who started as a true freshman at Michigan. 2 was Keelan Russell, who is in a quarterback competition at Alabama, is probably going to win it and be the starter at Alabama. And 3 is Tavian St. Clair, who's the backup at Ohio State.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you'll ever see it again. I don't think you see guys sit for 2 years, and you're right on if St comes back. And next year will a lot be about Julian. You mentioned Brock Boyd, and we see Chris Henry getting his black stripe removed. Where are you on those two in terms of those guys being real contributors next year?
Yeah, it's hard because, I mean, you watch them. It feels like, right, there's really 4 starters. It's Jeremiah Smith, Brandon Ennis, and then Devin McEwen and Kyle Parker are kind of sharing that other outside spot. So there is a clear top 4. So then are they really going to go to 5 or to 6 and play that many guys? They've talked about it. It feels like if they do, like, well, who else would it be? But, like, when you watch them run with the ones, it's kind of like those top 4 guys are doing that, and then Boyd and Henry are working in. I don't know. Like, I think it's possible we've gotten a little out over our skis with the Brock Boyd hype this spring, and it's hard to play as a true freshman. I think, like, Chris Henry Jr. to me is like Jeremiah Smith's stunt double. It's like if you were trying to put somebody in the game to be like, okay, he's not this guy, but we need someone who could look like this guy. It's like, yeah, we have that. And so you even want, but it's like, does he do it every play like Jeremiah Smith? No. Are there flashes? Yeah, there are flashes all over the place. So I don't know. Like, I think they'll play more receivers than they have in recent years, but I don't know if that means that Chris Henry Jr. and Brock Boyd are going to have like 40 catches in the fall. Yeah. Right? Because it's like that's other than Jeremiah, that's not what the freshman receivers usually do. So it's hard to make a prediction because it's like, you know, we tried to do that on our show. It's like, how many catches will Brock Boyd have? It's like, well, someone said like 13 and someone said 40. And it's like, that's a big difference, but I think either could be right.
What, if anything, have you noticed from Arthur Smith's influence on this offense and just what you've seen? And obviously we'll have a much better feel for it tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like physicality, ingenuity in the run game. It feels like just an overall, like, command of things. I think, like, the avatar link between Arthur Smith and Julian St and is, like, a really good thing. And like Ryan Day has talked about, what is Julian doing best right now? It's like he just has a command of everything, right? And so I think in the end, in a world where there are 51 new players this spring, which is, they've used that number a ton, all these transfer guys, these interesting true freshmen, I think when we get to the fall, we're going to say, what's the number one most important addition to Ohio State in 2026? And the answer is going to be Arthur Smith. And I think we're going to know it when we see it. And I think the thing that everybody came away with about Matt Patricia from the Texas opener last year, like, oh man, that was an NFL-level plan, and he got in Archie's head, and, like, you could see the coordination, right? Mm-hmm. I think we might walk away from September being like, man, we know this is the Ryan Day offense, but, like, man, this offense has a handle on stuff, and they are the art of it, the sequencing, just the way they're putting a plan together. I think you're going to be able to feel it, and I don't know how much we'll feel it tomorrow, but I think we'll feel it for sure in September.
Doug, how about, and I'll get you out of here on this one, personality fit with him? Because I think Matt surprised us. There was a perception of him coming in here that did not meet reality at all. Well, similarly, there's a perception of Arthur Smith in the NFL that does it fit what you've seen in the limited time that you've had, and then just talking to folks around it?
I really think it's almost all about competence for the coordinators at this point. And it is competence that Ryan Day believes in, right? And so we had this moment, like, after they lost to Miami, they were kind of standing in the hallway after the game. Ryan Day was standing outside the locker room and just talking to Matt Patricia for a long time. And, like, just talking as equals, talking as peers, right? They had just lost, their season's over. And Ryan Day, like, has this sounding board in Matt Patricia because he trusts him and believes in him completely. And there are a couple reporters were kind of standing there watching. I just said, like, that's what he needs on offense. Mm-hmm. Like, he just needs that. And so we were at the coaches clinic last night, and you're listening to the guys speaking, like, who spoke? There were 3 people who gave long speeches to the high school coaches: Matt Patricia, Arthur Smith, and John Gruden, 3 former NFL head coaches. Mm-hmm. And 2 of them are coordinators at Ohio State. And it's just, I almost don't care what Arthur Smith's background is. I almost don't care what his personality is. I think the thing that matters is, does Ryan Day trust him and view him as an equal? And I think there is zero doubt about that. And we saw what happened a year ago with Patricia, and I just think they're on the same track with Arthur Smith.
You and Bill going to have a breakdown on YouTube after the game?
We will do a quick hit video after the spring game on YouTube. You can find the Bill and Doug Show on YouTube. That'll also be in the free podcast feeds. And then we're going to go over to our Substack and do a deeper dive of like another 90 minutes of like all the nitty gritty with like a second overtime post game show at the Bill and Doug Substack.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Look forward to it. Thanks for your time as always, buddy.
Appreciate it.
All right, there he goes. Doug Lesmerises, the Bill and Doug Show on YouTube. Bill and Doug, OSU.substack.com. 3 things on a Friday. Up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
From posters and presentations to labels and loyalty cards, Staples has all the print to boost your brand. Shop now, in store and online. Staples, that was easy.
This Ohio State football spring practice report is brought to you locally on The Fan by Roosters and by your Ohio Kubota dealers.
Ohio State football spring practice report.
Well, all the spring drills wrap up tomorrow with the annual Scarlet and Gray spring game at Ohio Stadium. Head coach Ryan Day outlines what he thinks the game will look like.
Yeah, we'll do a game. Probably have a drive or two that will be thud, where we'll be tackling and playing a full game. So, we're excited about that. I think it's a great opportunity because of our numbers to let guys get out there and play in front of a good crowd. It sounds like we're going to have a good crowd. And, for 51 of our new guys, now I guess not all of them will be participating because a couple of guys will be dinged up, but that'll be their first time playing, in front of a crowd. So, great opportunity for all of them to grade out and finish off their spring the right way. And that's, we've been grading every practice and really evaluating every practice. So I know that they want to finish this last week strong.
This report brought to you by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center and by Weber Grills on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Buckeye fans, game day just got hotter. Whether you're parked in the shoe lot or grilling at home, it's not a tailgate without Weber Grill's Traveler Grill. Fires fast, folds flat, fits compact, and delivers championship flavor every time. Burgers, brats, steaks, even rival fans agree. Bring the taste of victory wherever you grill. The Weber Traveler Grill. Tailgate tough, Buckeye proud. Weber Grills. Taste the tradition. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Nobody has more all-wheel drive or electrified hybrid choices than Toyota, like the best-selling Tacoma. Now through May 4th, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 26 Tacoma. Excludes TRD Pro and Trail Hunter. Or lease a well-equipped Tacoma SR5 for $299 a month for 36 months with $39.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
There's an old story about cat toys that's been retold for over 20 years because it perfectly explains who we are. This is Dennis Sullivan, president of Clair Heating and Cooling. Years ago, a couple who shared their house with 3 cats had another company out to look at their furnace. After working on it, the technician said it was dangerous and had to be replaced. The couple called Clair for a second opinion, and my dad Mike went out to help them. When he inspected the furnace, the cause of the problem became obvious. A cat toy had been stuffed into the heat exchanger. With the toy removed, the furnace ran perfectly. Now, how did the toy get there? You can decide for yourself, but here's what mattered then and still matters now. The first company paid commissions to their service techs to sell new furnaces. At Clair, We pay our technicians to fix furnaces, not sell you a new one. And if a new furnace is needed, our team of replacement specialists will advise you on all options available and help you make your best choice. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING when you need a company you can trust.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, race what in the poll today.
Daily Fan Poll sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub. It asks, which group are you looking forward to watch? Which group are you looking forward to watching the most in tomorrow's spring game? Freshmen or the transfer portal players? 55% say the transfer portal players.
Yeah, I don't know that the ones that you paid the highest price for are going to do much. I think they'll be pretty shelved on this one. Speaking of the spring game, Saturday is the spring game, and the Fan has you covered. Join us tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pelotonia Fan Tailgate Show live from FanFest. AR, Tim May, Bids, they're going to get you ready. It's the Pelotonia Spring Game Fan Tailgate Show. Join the community passionate about ending cancer, pelotonia.org, and presented by KeyBank. For every financial need, we'll meet you in the moment. KeyBank opens doors. Time for three things on a Friday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, number one for me. So I put this out on my on the X platform. The weather was decent, and took Buddy Garrity on his walk, and he saw his buddy Augustus McRae, and he said, well, Dad, can we play? And I said, yeah, go right ahead, buddy. And normally when Buddy Garrity gets to play with his buddy, and this is a golden retriever, and I think it's like a Bernedoodle is maybe what Augustus is. Usually when they play, it is a dead sprint game of tag for the better part of 5 to 7 minutes. Well, Buddy Garrity got fat and got out of shape. My guy went for about a minute and a half. He came walking. He never does this. He walked right over to me, Dad, just drooling, just like he was gassed. Came right over to me. Dad, put the leash on. We got to go home. We got to go home. I've never had that happen in all of it. So he is getting older, but I also think we got to get him into some shape a little bit here. He's not in game shape right now. It's going to be a long preseason.
It's only April, so you got time to lose that winter weight.
That was his spring game.
Right.
It was his spring game. Yeah.
Now he knows what he needs to work on to be ready for the summer. This news coming out in the last 30 minutes. The San Diego Padres are about to be sold by private equity billionaires for $3.9 billion. You ask, well, what was the last time a Major League Baseball franchise was sold? Well, it was the Mets. Stevie Cohen bought them for $2.42 billion.
Wow.
The Guggenheim Group bought the Dodgers back in 2012 for $2 billion.
Oh, my gosh.
And in 2026, the Padres are getting sold for $3.9 billion.
There's still that much money left in the spigot.
It's good business to get into.
That you can, I mean, the pods.
First thing for me, Bo, while you and Doug Lesmerises were chatting, I continued the research on the linebackers in the top 10. I did not see any from the same team that were ever drafted in the top 10 unless I missed something. Ohio State was one of the teams that was the closest. It was 1974. Rick Middleton went 13th overall to the Saints, followed directly by Randy Gradishar at 14 to the Denver Broncos.
We had AJ and Bob were both ones.
Mm-hmm. AJ was the fifth pick. I think Bob was 18th, something like that.
So they were both ones. But yeah, 2 top 10 linebackers is just absolutely unheard of.
I also forgot Craig Powell, a Buckeye linebacker, was drafted in the first round as well late. I forgot all about that in the 90s.
Yeah, I forgot that too. Number 2 for me, I think I've come to the realization and conclusion that it's a hell of an app. I pay a decent price for it, but it's a good app. It's the most accurate one. I've got to find a way to coexist with the AccuWeather app. It's so much. I got a notification today at 9:30 that severe weather was coming through at 10 a.m. There was no severe weather. It was a few clouds and maybe it was somewhere, but it's putting me on way too high alert. I'm seeing shadows with all this weather because we have severe weather. It feels like every other night. Probably going to have it again on Saturday. I'm better off, I think, just not knowing. And then if something big happens, if it's tornado, well, fine, I'll get a National Weather Service alert. I just don't know that I need all this weather information that I'm getting.
We talked earlier in the show about a possibility. I really just throwing something at the wall to see what sticks about the football team for Ohio State going over and playing an international game. And Ross Bjork said that they would not be willing to give up a home game at Ohio Stadium, but if the right price and somebody like an opponent was willing to give up one of their home games, everything's on the table for that. Well, Notre Dame, their football team has played games overseas in Dublin. Their men's and women's basketball teams will open the 26-27 season playing a doubleheader against Villanova in Rome.
Jeez.
In front of the Pope, maybe.
Well, they have the Irish contingent and then they have the Catholic contingent. So I guess it makes some sense for them to do it. I think it's Munich. If the Buckeyes are going to play overseas, to me, Bayern Munich feels like the spiritual partner of Ohio State football.
Be interesting to see if it ever happens. The past 2 days in here, we've got the TVs on up above me, and I've seen this commercial for this show called Rock the Block, and it's Ty Pennington. It's a show where these HGTV home renovators team up with washed-up stars or celebrities to renovate houses, like all in the same neighborhood or all on the same street. And they're starting a new season of this. And this year it has the likes of Drew Lachey, Brooke Hogan, and Vernon Davis. Like, who's watching this? Where is the appetite for this show out there that people want to tune into?
Feels like it's 20 years late, maybe. Finally, number 3 for me tonight. Beamsy and the Blonde will be at Ohio State, Michigan tonight for the lacrosse game, so I'm excited for them to see that. I love what Nick Meyer's done, almost 20 years in the program, and that's going to be a fun game on Senior Day and hopefully propels them into the Big Ten tournament next week.
Cavs in 5. Game 1 against the Toronto Raptors tomorrow at 1 o'clock on Amazon Prime. They win this series in 5.
I will 100% forget that game is on tomorrow at 1.
Yeah. So a lot of people.
Yeah.
Tyvis said the same thing. Does that worry you at all?
Oh, yeah. No, then Cavs in 6. When he's confident, you got to tack on another loss.
Final thing for me, don't go anywhere. Spend your Friday afternoon right here with the Fan and Rothman and Ice, and enjoy the Ohio State Michigan lacrosse or Aviators game tonight, whatever you're doing.
Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We'll be back here Monday to break down the spring game. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Bobby Carpenter demands that you watch Morning Juice on YouTube. If you don't, Tito will move into your house.
Live at 6 a.m. on YouTube and streaming on the